Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you your Friday fan call-in show alongside the one and only co-host of this channel, Jack. How are you keeping, my man?
Keeping well, Dave. We're a little bit confused because Spurs have yet again, kind of pulled a fast one on us with a bit of news that has come about with the likes of a new director of football. Actually, kind of already misspoke, Dave. I think it's a new chief footballing officer here. His name is Scott Munn. And by the kind of moment that I saw sort of the picture, Dave, I kind of could tell that, he's coming in maybe to sort of do the dirty work. And so maybe we just get ahead on things already and kind of speculate in this sort of fan show and just, like I said, get ahead on things. Is he maybe looking like a Don already? Because anybody that's coming into the picture here at Tottenham Hotspur, certainly, Dave, is going to be one that's going to be getting his hands dirty because he has a big footballing mess to deal with. I kind of feel like maybe we'll bring it up continually kind of throughout here, Dave, but I am going to maybe sort of read aloud kind of at least what the Athletic sort of has said about the appointment thus far for anybody that is sort of kind of joining us right away. Tottenham Hotspur is set to appoint Scott Munn as Chief Football Officer. The Australian is currently Chief Executive of City Football Group China, having previously held the position at Melbourne City FC, and moved to the Premier League club would be his first role in European football, with his remit also taking in the club's academy and women's team. Tottenham are seeking to boost their off-field staff and improve the structure of their football operations. Fabio Paratici recently stepped back from his role as a managing director of football, pending the outcome of his appeal against a worldwide ban from football. Performance director Greta Steinson and head of football strategy Andy Scolding are currently helping to help fill the void left by Paratici. So those two guys, Dave, are getting maybe a bit of a boost, you could say. And then Paratici, pending his appeal, would report actually to Scott Munn, with the Australian adding a further level of experience and expertise. So Dave, he is now the new head man, the new head boss of the whole footballing operations. He is Paratici's boss. He is the Don of Dons.
I have a number of things on this. First of all, with him being Australian, I've no doubt he knows exactly who Ange Postecoglou is. Could that maybe steer in the new direction of where we're going with the manager hunt? If we've got any Australians out there that we know listen to this and you know a bit about this guy, please do come on and tell us a bit about this guy, or feel free to make us a video and we'll post it up on the channel. Second thing, Jack, you know the way I always say, Joe Lewis pays Daniel Levy pays Paratici to take a shit, Paratici pays the manager, and the manager basically puts it on the players, and the players blame then everybody else. It's kind of like, it's just bringing in a new person to get paid to take the shit. It's unbelievable. Look, if I'm looking at it from an outside perspective, I think they're looking to replace Paratici. I think, if I'm looking at it from the outside perspective, and that this guy is going to be over it all. But then if Paratici ban is not, or is reduced back again just to Italy, then you're in a situation where you can't really sack Paratici because you don't really have any grounds for sort of to dismiss him. So then you're stuck with two people sort of fighting for the same role. And that's not going to end well. It's going to be one big, massive power struggle. So I'm a bit confused by it. I really am confused by it.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by it as well. But maybe the bigger question that probably gets on our minds here, Dave, is the fact that with maybe him being sort of kind of the taking charge, like it says here, of all footballing departments, being also the head of Paratici, being Paratici's boss, is this either a ploy by Levy to make it look like he's stepping away from footballing operations, or is he really maybe kind of making sort of a step towards kind of relinquishing some of his roles and maybe some of his sort of kind of power and responsibilities? Of course, he still has the power, of course, like he can step ahead of anybody and, fire anybody at any time and place. But I think you know what I mean. Maybe he is sort of considering, or at least making it look like, it's one of the two, maybe, him sort of stepping away from some of the footballing decisions right now, knowing that Spurs are receiving a lot of attention. Spurs are, quote unquote, in a crisis right now. So I could see maybe why this move actually has been made, because it does maybe look like, at the end of the day, a smart move, because in order to also bring in a manager, bring in players, get rid of players, you don't want it to be Daniel Levy making the decisions. And if it is, no director of football, no Paratici, like, you do kind of leave yourself like kind of asking, like, is it just Daniel Levy making these decisions? Now with Scott Munn, Dave, Scott Munn, like you said, is going to be taking, the load from Levy or the shit
I
from Levy.
think,
But I don't know. Like, I could see it, Dave, where actually this could be also a way where Daniel Levy is trying to make it look like that he is trying to step away from the footballing decisions, knowing that Spurs are receiving a lot of attention right now. And we all have said 1,000 times before, how we get out of this is not business decisions or anything like that, or business operations. We're fine on that side. What we need is to fix the footballing side of the club. Scott Munn has been brought in here, I guess, to supposedly do that.
yeah, look, when I read this quote that sort of came out from the club, Scott has a unique and broad experience of running sporting organisations at the highest level, and will take responsibility for the leadership and management of our football activities to instill best practice both on and off the pitch. So that does basically tell us that he is definitely going to be over the football side of things. But I think it probably, I would say, adds more what's the right word? Adds more to basically what I've sort of been saying, where I think that Daniel Levy has lost the run of the footballing side of things completely and doesn't understand us to get out of it. Because, when he brought in Paratici, he gave him the role of director of football and gave him more power than what he gave Steve Hitchen. And now this guy's coming in and he's going to have more power than what Paratici did. So it does show to me that he has lost all sort of notion or any idea how to get us back in terms of on the footballing side of things, because there's so many things to do. You've got a youth academy that's not producing the players. There's no pathway for them into the first team. You're clogged up with a load of players out on loan and shit still in this first team to get rid of. We still need a manager, and we need to be planning for next season. We're in danger of falling back outside the Champions League spaces again. So there's so much going on right now that, like you've said before, he's a businessman, he's not a football man. And I don't think he knows how to make them footballing decisions to get us out of it. And that's why I think he's hiring this guy, and he's trying to maybe get ahead of the Paratici thing, and maybe hoping to start getting some plans in place here for the summer, although I believe this guy won't be coming or starting officially until the summer. So look, I think it is to maybe try and get ahead of the Paratici situation and have someone else in place. But I do think it adds more to what I've been saying about him maybe losing the control of the football inside. The fact that everyone that comes in here is getting more and more power. Because eventually, if it doesn't get right, you know what's going to happen when it's like, well, I've put people in on the football side. It's not to do with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, Dave. Interesting. Some other kind of little bits of news that we're going to touch on too is also kind of some of these kind of results having to do with the Athletic, Dave. Just quickly, I'll kind of also bring these up. We'll bring them up on screen later, but some of the ones that maybe just might interest people. The Athletic did a poll, I think, polling 4,000 different Spurs fans, asking them on different kind of sort of quote unquote big issues right at the club. 91.4% of those 4,000, Dave, said they don't trust Levy with on-field matters, which definitely does sort of connect us to maybe why Levy probably made this appointment of Scott Munn. 86% agree with Conte sacking. 48% want Nagelsmann as their new boss. 50.6% say style is more important than trophies. That's been the very contentious one that's been brought up recently. And then a lot of people...
Well, there are a few double votes in there on that one.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. The 2,000 fan accounts that were being made as well by Daniel Levy. But there's that to, I think, get stuck into. If any of those sort of statistics, right, like sort of stick out to you guys, come on and have your say. Feel free to discuss that. If there's anything that sort of alarms you, anything that sort of explains something, or just anything you just want to have a good old-fashioned chat about, feel free to come on. And then also Tottenham versus Brighton, Dave. I think this is sort of, we don't really want to talk about it because we're not excited about Spurs, but it is tomorrow, and top four hopes probably rest on tomorrow. I actually think, Dave, it is kind of a huge game. Would you say top four hopes sort of rest on tomorrow? Am I kind of getting a bit ahead of myself, or they're already well and gone?
No, you're absolutely spot on. Look, Jack, you just look at the Premier League table here. We're sitting in fifth currently, same 3 points behind Man United and Newcastle, who both have a game in hand on us, so they can stretch that to 6 points. You look at Brighton, they're behind us with 2 games in hand, and they're only on 46 points. So if they beat us tomorrow, they close the gap on us to 1 point with 2 games still in hand, which then means they leapfrog us into challenging for the Champions League. And I would say with Newcastle, United, Liverpool still to come, and we haven't done well against any of the big 6 teams this year, bar beating Chelsea and Man City. The rest of them, Liverpool got bet by, United got bet easily by, Newcastle got bet by as well, pretty handily as well. So with them games coming up, I would probably say a loss there tomorrow, or even a draw. I would say probably, I think we'd be more scrapping for Europa League place, which I find embarrassing, to be honest with you, and I don't want. So tomorrow, I genuinely actually believe it's a must-win if we want Champions League football.
Yeah,
Because when you look at the teams around us, we play the worst football, no confidence, and we're in the worst form.
Yeah, when we were asked kind of, or when we asked ourselves, let's be honest, a while back when Stellini and Mason were, first put in charge, we gave reasons as to think maybe how they could get into top four, but it had nothing to do with Stellini and Mason. It was more having to do with the onus of the players to sort of get themselves there. Seeing kind of the evidence of Everton, I mean, there's really, I don't think, a lot of hope that anybody is expecting us to be able to push on. Also, knowing the big games like this one that we have tomorrow, the big games like Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, etc. We'll see how they fare. But I just think it's kind of, this is sort of when it starts to become crunch time. Like, we've really also missed out, I think, on a huge number of games, where we probably just would have normally have picked up points and we just didn't. You look at the Southampton, you look at the other games, I believe this season, like Aston Villa as well, where you just didn't probably expect us to drop points in those. There's a lot of games, especially even Dave, you even sort of brought up like the run of games that we had before we came up to this Brighton fixture was actually supposed to be a run where Spurs could have picked up a fair amount of points. Then they would have come up against these sort of bigger teams and we would have seen how they would have tested and fared. But the fact that we really didn't pick up any points really at all whatsoever over that sort of stretch of games, which were kind of easy teams, or at least some of the easier teams in the Premier League, doesn't give you any real confidence for tomorrow. But it's a home atmosphere. Maybe that might change things. The players know they have to be a bit more accountable because of the fans. But this Roberto De Zerbi as well, Dave, it's almost like a trial run for him. It's like a bit of an audition too, right? And his team plays a very sort of progressive football that a lot of Spurs fans have been wanting to see. You could imagine them getting quite sort of upset if they sort of start kind of dictating the tempo, passing it around in our own stadium. You could see it getting a little bit anxious, a little bit kind of nervy, or a little bit sort of kind of, let's be honest, a little bit tense, like in the stadium because of that. And it's going to be interesting to see how the team fares, how, how just the whole thing goes, Dave, because it is a team that I think is pushing very hard for top four. Newcastle seem to have real motivation now to get top four. You can kind of see it in their body language, see it in their eyes. Man United may be starting to slip up a little bit, but they still have shown they can pull themselves together and get through the games. And Brighton, I mean, De Zerbi just said, I think, something like on the lines of, it would be a disappointment if we didn't get European football at this stage. So they're pushing hard for it as well. And when you look at Spurs, you don't see it in our eyes. You don't see it in our heart. You don't see that sort of passion or will to get into those European places where, like I said, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton, they all look like they want it more than us.
And what concerns me about tomorrow, Jack, is Brighton have camaraderie. They're all together. They're all willing to work for each other, fight for each other, run for each other. You look at our players right now, and look, there's no point in denying it any longer. It's been there for quite some time. It's a massive split in this dressing room. A lot of reports, a lot of teams' players have come out and said and stuff like that. Have all alluded to it. And when you don't have that togetherness, you see what we see on the football pitch currently over the last while, when everyone's sort of pulling in different directions, and it's concerning. I think, look, Brighton will play a game that might suit us, where they're going to take the game to us, and we end up relying on sort of counterattacks to maybe go and score. But the biggest difference between Brighton this year and Brighton in previous years is the goals they've added. That's the biggest difference. De Zerbi has them scoring a lot more goals than what they usually score, and that's why Brighton are up challenging for a Champions League spot. That's why Brighton are picking up the results they did. Potter always had them playing good football, but they didn't. He couldn't get them to score goals. A bit like with Chelsea, couldn't get them to score goals. It's a flaw in Potter's management. But De Zerbi has them scoring a lot of goals, and I'm concerned. We've still got a lot of injuries. Added with a Lucas Moore suspension, I'm really concerned going into this game. I'm also a bit conflicted as well. Stellini called on the fans, and look, you all know me. If a manager or whoever's in charge calls on the fans, I'll always 100% get behind it and say, look, regardless of what's going on, let's make it, let's get behind the team today. But I'm sort of at the point, I've just had enough. It's kind of like, They don't. It's up to the players to get the fans up for that. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, we can go in there and do all the clapping we want. Like the AC Milan game, Jack. Every fan turned up. Everyone was cheering them on, singing songs. And we didn't get any response. And it's kind of like, I'm sort of at the point, no, fuck it. Boo them all. Let them know how shit they've been this year. Let them know how much they've let everybody.
It's a bit too
Instead
late.
of doing all this happy clapping, come on, guys, because it doesn't change. You could have done it against Everton Monday night after you made a save. Come on, guys, and guess what? We still went and conceded. So it doesn't matter. I'm at the point now. Just let them know how bad they've been, and hopefully that might give them a kick up the ass. And if they cower and go behind and go into their shells even further, then fuck them all. Get rid of the lot of them, because this can't continue. That's where I'm at.
I hear you on that. Just quickly, because how many times, Dave, had we heard through the audio in the away games, all the way up in the games in Man United, you could see even, the games out in Preston, you could hear the Spurs away end. You could hear them, singing loud and proud. And also as well, just being probably one of the more kind of louder kind of representatives of kind of the away crowd than maybe most fan bases, you would say. It seems like Spurs have, despite sort of the torrid football, have been, pretty, vocal, and have been, quite loud this whole season. So it seems like to ask more of the fans and to sort of say that they could do better, or that they need to pull themselves together, or anything coming from, the players that have let us down continually this season, and as well as Stellini at the end of the day. I know I don't want to throw him under the bus too much, but he's also responsible. It's I don't know. It's a bit out of place. It's kind of like, you have to do your part. Like, we've been doing our part for quite some time now. Like, you have to do your part as well.
It's kind of like, how much more do they want from the fans? The fans get behind every player that's brought in here, gets behind every manager that's brought in here. The fans continue to go to the games regardless of how bad we are. The fans continue to buy merchandise regardless of what the club is going through. How much more do they want from the fans? It's about time people at the club realized instead, hang on, how about we start giving back to the fans? How about we start doing things for the fans? It's always, the fans just support this, just support that, and they always do it. I'm not having a go at anyone for doing it, by the way, just to make this clear. It's great to see. It's bloody great to see. They have one of the most loyal following across Europe, all the way across England. That home stadium is packed out week in, week out on the home games. And it's kind of like, how much more do they want for us? How much more do they want us to give? We're giving everything we have. It's about time they start giving back. And that's where I'm at with it. But anyway, we'll start welcoming more people in before Dave has one of his Friday tantrums. Big up, Mile High Hotspur. Good to see you in the building. Hopefully you have an easy day at work, my man. Big up, Catman Jess. He says, I don't remember voting on this Spurs fan style of play versus trophies. Yeah. I find that a bit strange myself. George Hill says, big up, legends. Hope you lads are keeping well. Even with a new DOF, I'm not buying Levy stepping away from the football side. Look at the club signing, even with Dom Paratici in the case of Jed Spence and Juma. Yep, fair point. Fair point, my man. We've got tequila. Keep yourself up. Hopefully you're keeping well. Hopefully you've got a lot of that in stock, my man, because you're going to need it over these next few weeks.
What's a scam, man?
Big up, Jacob, as well. Good to see you in the building, my man. Of course,
exactly,
man show, so get over there and show Jacob the support. Phil, happy Easter to you as well, sir. Hopefully you have a good one, my man. I actually enjoy Easter. I get chocolate. I get a good roast dinner with meat and all the trimmings on the Sunday. Tottenham, please, for once, just do not ruin it. I don't want my dinner to taste sour. But big up, Phil. Good to see you. Big up the Sable team. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday. Do you know what? We always do, my man. We always do. I was only saying to Jack and some of the people in the back end before we came on, it's kind of like, every other club, it's Friday, the press conference has been out, or it was yesterday. It's sort of relaxed heading into the game today. At Tottenham, we appoint a new sort of, I'm just going to call him the director of football. Whatever new fancy snazzy term they want to put on it, they can. So never a dull day at Tottenham, my man. Never. Big up Mr. Schrock as well. Great to see you. Big up Mark. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Big up Stevie Walsh. He says, big up Dave and Jack. We've got a Liverpool fan in here. No doubt he wants us tomorrow to hopefully they can claw themselves back into Europa League. We've got Derek Hutchinson, big up Jack, big up Derek. Eddie Parsons says, big up Dave and Jack. Good to see you, my man. Big up the Chelsea fan. Frank Lampard till the end of the season. Jesus, what's going on over there? Peter Kidd says, I will not be fooled with another director of football coming in. Levy out. Big up, Peter. Jake Eveney says, might do a Jesus go for points and reappear on Monday. I think most of us probably I think most of us do, my man. Big up, Foggy Foam. Happy Easter to you as well, sir. We've got Morlar says it's not another DOF, but the DOF's boss. Yeah, and then he's going to get a bus, and he's going to get a bus. Eventually, we're building the stairway to heaven. Big Red Machine says, "Who is Scott Munn?"
What's a Scott man?
Look, he actually has a lot of background in sports. I believe he's done what is it, rugby league as well. He was in charge of something over there, in charge of the City Group in China as well as in Australia. He's got a lot of background in sports, my man. Big up Chris Spurs as well. He says, interesting. Big up Carl Simpson. He says Scott Munn is a massive Postecoglou fan, so maybe worth a couple of quid. I've no doubt Hotspur is waking up smiling today for sure. Colin Turner, good afternoon, David and Jack. Happy Easter to you both. Big happy Easter to you, sir. Big up, Graham, my man. Hopefully you're keeping Graham well as well, and happy Easter to you.
And then
Moondog
also just before Moondog.
David and Jack.
Sorry, yeah, you take Moondog, and then I'll take then there's a member super chat I forgot about.
Good to see you, Moondog. Good to see you.
Yeah,
I've got a little. Do you know that cane thing you made me, my man? I'm using the graphic of it for something. So hopefully you'll enjoy it when it comes out, my man. Big yourself up, Moondog.
A new Don is in town, Moondog. Let me know what you think of a Scott man, and also Postecoglou, Moondog. If you are fancying the bets, Postecoglou, I would say get him in early. Like whoever said that, they're absolutely right. Get him in early. Yes, Carl Simpson is absolutely right. Scott Munn is a massive Postecoglou fan. Get him in early. I agree, Moondog. So there you are, with a little inside knowledge. And then speaking of Carl Simpson, Dave, member for 7 months as a Flat Cap member. He says, good afternoon, gents, and everyone in the chat. Come on, you Spurs, Carl. We appreciate you, my friend. You're always in here, always supporting us, and as well, keeping it lighthearted and keeping it always Spurs. We appreciate you, Carl.
Yeah, big up, Carl. Absolute legend. Good to have you on board, my man. Incredible service and long may it continue. You're a funny guy, so yeah, you're a funny guy. Just looking at myself, I mean, the Lord is shining on me. Look at the sun coming in the window, shining. It's making me look gold. It's unreal. Big up, Flat Cap Fanger as well. Good to see you. Spurs Ninja says, oh yeah, big up the lads learning how to spell Postecoglou, seeing as he'll probably be our manager next season. Yeah, look, it's probably looking that way. Big up, Mark. He says, great to hear the news with the Harris Army. Who has Daniel Levy signed on the cheap to replace Daniel Levy signing the fraudster Paratici? Daniel Levy, Enoch, get out of our club now. Consort him in. Big up, Mark. We've also got Amy Caracatera says, good afternoon. Big up, Amy. Good to see you. Big up, Davey Hamilton as well. No, look, in terms of what I meant by that is like whatever's gone on in Italy has gone on, but there's no actual grounds to sort of sack him at Tottenham, because if there was, they would have sacked him already instead of waiting for this appeal process to come in. My man, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm saying with it in terms of contractual reasons. Tony says, what club has he worked at before? China and Australia. I think it's Melbourne, my man.
Yeah, he worked at Melbourne City FC, it looked like. And I guess he's kind of worked across various sports franchises and whatnot, and has also just been a bit of a sports kind of businessman for a bit of time, it looks like.
Oh, stop. Big up, though. Big up. We've got Jack Face. He says Levy will always have the final say. 100%. Look, it doesn't matter who's in charge. Checks will always need to be signed off, my man. Savvy says, hello, guys. Is the signing any good? I mean, look, we'll just have to wait and see. We need a bit more what exactly he's going to be tasked with doing. Apparently, there's been a big review of the football operations for the last 6 months. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what the outcome with that is and exactly what this guy is brought in and tasked to do, my man. Chem62, is he going to be involved with finding a new manager? From what I read, he's not going to be here until the summer. So take from that what you will, to be honest with you, my man. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. Coach Bob says, big up, guys. Smoke and mirrors, if you ask me. Mail for Sam. Big up, Coach Bob. Good to see you in the building. Tony says, I've never heard of him before, but I'm hoping he has a good understanding of football and not just business. Yeah, look, one thing you definitely take is he definitely has a head for business, for sure. For sure he does, City Group in China, Australia, sort of, we'd want to have a really good head for business. Look, let's find out. Let's wait and see. Me and Jack will probably go and do more digging, and we'll definitely do something on him in the future, and see exactly what maybe he might bring. We'll do a bit more digging, my man. But big up, Tony. Good to see you in the building. Big up, Mark, as well. Mark Army strong in here today. Says top 4 is already over. Look, I'm holding out no hopes whatsoever, Mark. I really am not this season. Last season I did, and I was right. Yeah. This season, I just don't see it, my man.
Yeah, and like we said, we already didn't really expect it to happen once Stellini and Mason were put in charge, because then it sort of meant the players were going to have to get us into top 4, and can't really trust them to push on that hard either. So Roy
sure.
Parkshorn, saying the same thing. Yeah, it's over, guys. Tomorrow we'll show that we are made of, and that is Swiss cheese. Brighton, it's also going to be, I think, a tense atmosphere just because they play the type of football that a lot of fans want, Roy, as well.
Yeah, big up, Roy. Ben Sally yourself says, we get UEFA Champions Europa League and we build a team and actually try to win it. Look, regardless of the competition I'm in, I want to win it for sure, my man. John Campbell says, another deflection tactic by Levy. He's a control freak and he will still interfere on the football side when it comes to transfers. Many people saying the same. John, many people saying the same, my man. R says top 4 depends on our heads up against Brighton, Man United, Liverpool, and Newcastle. I have no faith with Man United and Liverpool. None whatsoever. I know we pulled a draw out of our arse in the back end of last season against Liverpool. I just don't fancy us, my man. When the big games come round, we know what happens. We know what happens. Big up, Ollie, finishing work, and new YouTube member as well. Big up the Olatron. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir, and good to have you back on board, my man. Derek Hutchins says, all we need now is Paul Mitchell to come back with the new man and for Levy to keep his nose out of all football matters. Yeah, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Like John and many other people are saying, they're not convinced that is going to be the case. Let's wait and see. Green 216, good to see you. Got that lovely badge beside his name. Everyone needs to be more.
Absolute legend.
Get that badge. Just sort of enhances your name in the chat. It's absolutely unbelievable. We've got Christoph Cavalet says Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United, Brentford, Villa, then Spurs. That's what he's going for. Villa, surprisingly, few losses there. Villa could overtake us. That would be embarrassing. Jason Bell says, big up, lads. Strangely, I have a good feeling about tomorrow. I hope you're right, my man. I really do want to win. I just have no hope. Peter M, good to see you, brother. I hope you are keeping well, my
Jason
man.
And Peter.
Steve D, the nemesis, he's coming back to troll me more. He says, afternoon, lads. Stellini isn't going to do anything different to Conte, as it's been agreed that he stays till the end of the season by Conte, so he could leave. He'll then join again as his number 2. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. There's no way we're keeping him on next season. Although some people say you never know, it's Tottenham, so you never know. Iceman, good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, Iceman. Great to have you in the building. We also have Rayman says, I wonder how much they've put aside to pay off this new fella when his drama kicks off. Yeah, look, maybe, we can't afford to have many more people on gardening leave, to be honest with you, my man. Hopefully he does come in and do a good job, because we need to move forward, my man. Ian Ferguson says, more than all, Tottenham till it kills me. Yeah, I think all of us are like that, and we're definitely getting to that point, Ian. Good to see you, though, brother. Raider275, happy Easter weekend, everyone. I've got some chocolate eggs this year as well. Come on, you Spurs. Everyone, put in the chat, what's your favorite Easter egg? Let me know. I'm a Galaxy guy. I love it. I'm weak for Galaxy. Justin Fiaconi says, does it bother you that our new chief of football operations has zero experience in European football? Because it worries me. Good point. Very good point. Jack, I'll let you take this one.
It kind of does worry me slightly, Justin. It does. I'll be honest. I feel like if you're bringing in a big chief footballing operator or whatever he is, right? He's supposed to kind of just be the big head guy that basically is only really answerable to Levy. And supposedly, but what we're hearing by things is technically Paratici's boss, if Paratici were to still remain at the club. That does then make me just a bit skeptical of like what his sort of role is then. Like, is his role maybe to be just another guy that sort of takes the shit, like Dave was saying, and then he kind of gives the shit to Paratici? Or is he someone that sort of has this head for maybe fixing, kind of clubs that are in a bad situation, and or maybe even just comes into sort of kind of any sort of operation, any sort of organization, and is kind of good at sort of getting things on the right track right away. That is sort of a career that is sort of like a thing people have where they do come in as sort of consultants for various sort of industries, organizations, and they do come in and sort of kind of just see things from a different perspective and are able to sort of fix things in a sort of a different manner as well as a more ruthless and efficient manner. That's the best I can hope for, but I'll be honest, I'm with you. It does sort of confuse me as well as sort of kind of make me a bit skeptical about the fact that he doesn't exactly have any sort of experience in European football.
Yeah, it is worrying, my man. It is worrying. But look, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it goes. Look, like I said, I sort of need to go and do a bit more digging into the background of the guy. And then, I'm sure I'll get something out between now and a couple of weeks' time for you guys, a bit more on this guy. But big yourself up, my man. And we've got Dexter, Morningstar. Morningstar says, Hola, he's always a happy person in the morning. And then we've got Dill. Duande's bald Conte on the wheels. You got Steve Walsh. He says, "Where the hell is Poch?" Look, I would hazard a guess that this guy ain't coming, my man, because we've had plenty of time to contact him, and the rumors are that we haven't even contacted him whatsoever. So it kind of makes me think he's not even on the radar, Stevie. Sebas Wolf 28, what's good, my man? Hopefully you're keeping well, brother. Good to see you. We're going to welcome a few more people in, and then we're going to start again on the guest. Mark P, another one of the Mark armies. Loads of Marks in this. He says, big up, boys. Thanks for keeping us entertained. Big up, my man. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Jazzy Fusion, do we know the Munster's role is? Oh, I love it. Don't set me off. Do not set me off, Jazz. I could come up with 1,000 nicknames if you want me to, my man. But I want to give this guy a fair chance. I don't want him to be compared to a name that is only a nickname. So I genuinely just don't want to do it to this guy. I want him to be given a fair chance because we all know once I set a nickname on someone, they never get a chance. And it just goes crazy, my man. Just goes crazy. So I'm not going to do it this time, Jazz. But big up. I like where your head's at, though. Jimmy Cusco says, I really don't care about no European big club experience anymore. Conte, Mourinho, Paratici had all experience in the world. Edu, Arteta, Vinay, who did they work for? Look at the differences. Fair point, Jimmy. Fair point, my man.
I like how you think, Jimmy. I like how you think.
We've got Constantine Fele says, let's get Postecoglou in. Big up, Constantine. Many Aussies are behind you there. Boris Britt says, question, if he will allow Levy to let great possible signings pass us over, like what happened with Kim Min-jae when he had Jose. Only reason we didn't get Kim was since Levy didn't want to pay a little. Yeah. Look.
At the same time, though, we paid $14 million for Joe Rodon, which was $4 million more than what we would have paid for Kim Min-jae. So it's kind of how you interpret it. Either Levy didn't want to pay $10 million for Kim Min-jae, but he was willing to pay $14 million for Joe Rodon, or Steve Hitchen was that much of a moron with what money he was given. I think you can look at it. It's one of the two, really. I think it's one of the two. Either Steve Hitchen didn't know what he was doing and just didn't want to get Kim Min-jae and would rather buy Joe Rodon for more, or Daniel Levy, I guess, had his heart set on Joe Rodon and not set on Kim Min-jae, because that was the same summer we were linked to the two players.
Yeah. It's concerning with the one we booked and you picked, and you look at the career trajectory. It's quite concerning, is what I would say. Moondog says, stuck a tenner on Ange Postecoglou. However you spell it, my man. Let's see if it happens. This new guy's Australian. Apparently, he's hired Postecoglou before. He's a big fan. So let's wait and see, my man. John, and look, do you know what? You might see me sprinting down to the bookies, throwing a fiver on before it closes as well. Big up, my man. John Rachel says, so being Easter and hot buns, we could have some Scott Cross Munns. Don't. I love a good hot cross bun, my man. I love them. Paul Tro says, not confident at all. Yeah, I don't think any of us are, my man. Rob Ranganarson, good to see you. Simon Cohen, happy Easter. I seen you also say further down, you're heading away. Do not let Tottenham ruin it. In fact, take your eyes. Don't watch it at all. Don't watch it at all, my man. Big up, John. Hopefully you and the young family down under are keeping well, sir. If you're ever back over this side of the pond, traveling or on holiday or seeing family, let me know. I'd love to get down and meet you.
Big up, John,
boy. But look, we're going to skip to the very bottom of the chat. We're going to crack on and start getting on the guest. Big up Johnny Stokes as well. Good to see you, sir. Hopefully you are keeping well, my man. So look, everybody, we do actually, we had a podcast out yesterday with Flav from the Fighting Cock podcast. Also, you see him on the Overlap. If you haven't checked it out after this fan show, make sure you do check it out. It was a really, really good discussion. And as we go on through this fan show, all we ask is that you engage with us. We understand it's very tough times out there at the minute. Easter is an expensive time of the year, especially if you've got kids with them being off and on holiday and stuff like that. So all we ask is that you engage with us in the chat. And those who can, feel free to support us with a super chat. It's a great way to support everything myself and Jack are trying to do here, which is simply just give Tottenham fans a voice regardless of their opinion. But look, let's kick it off, Jacko. We start getting on some guests. What do you think?
Yeah, let's bring him on here, Dave. And we have a few different things to talk about and get stuck into, and we're bringing back the one and only Dermatron after a long slumber.
It's good to see this guy back behind the mic again. Dermot, how are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys, and thanks for having me on and looking forward to it. It's been a while, but it's nice to come back.
You picked the right 2 weeks to ignore everything that's going on at Tottenham, my man. You picked the right few weeks.
Yeah, I go away and Tottenham go to pieces. I think there might be a link somewhere along there.
Yeah, it's like you left the faucet on or something, Dermot. You know, when it came to Spurs.
I did something. I'm thinking, what did I do? And I can't remember. So I will figure it out one day.
You left the lights on, Dermot. Yeah,
I left.
Apparently, you were holding it all together. You were the straw on the camel's back when it came to Spurs. But we got to fix it, Dermatron. And Scott Munn, I guess, has been hired in as that chief footballing officer, whatever that role means. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
What do you make of Scott Munn being brought in? Is this sort of is this kind of for the papers to make it sort of draw some attention away from Spurs, maybe some good PR to kind of make it look like Spurs are, dealing with all the issues? What do you make of it?
I think it's just another paper exercise just to take the stress away from Levy and the owners, to be fair. Yeah. Look, they all said that when Arsene Wenger went to Arsenal. Who's he? And look what happened with him. So if we can have the same sort of impact, then grand. Look, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And we're now just picking people out from China and Australia to come and do a job who's never got any European football experience. And it's just a case of, we'll pick him. He might do good. There's no thought goes into this. It's like panic mode. Right, we're getting attacked here. Right, we'll pick him. That'll take the stress off us. And that will give him, and then we can swanny along doing what we're doing. There's no planning along with this, and that's the very frustrating part of it.
Do you know what, Dermot? I'm a bit confused on it, right? Because Paratici, Levy was supposed to be a long-term admirer of the guy and admired what he'd done at Juventus, blah, 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 right? Brought him in. But this guy, no one's really ever heard of him.
No.
It's not like, reports coming out saying Daniel Levy's had a long-term standing interest. And I wonder, is this an appointment made by Daniel Levy, or is this an appointment made by someone that maybe has a bit more power than him and said, look, this guy's coming in regardless? Or do you think I'm way off the mark?
I think you might be on the ball there. I think you might be on the money there. Look, I think Levy is out of control. I think he's lost control of the football inside. He's lost control of Tottenham. We're not Tottenham anymore. We're not. We're not the team. We're not a club that we should be proud of. Dave and Jack, you both know we're at the AC Milan game. That sound stand was rocking from minute 1 to the end of the game. And the play, as you said, Dave, the players give us nothing. We're not connected. The fans are separated. The players are separated. The manager is separated. It seems to be civil war has broken out within Tottenham. And they've all got their own little groups. And I think Levy has lost complete control of it. Now, either somebody has come in, Dave, like you said, right, this man's coming in, like it or not, he's taken control. You just deal on that side. He'll deal with that. I'm happy with that. You cannot complain about Levy, what he's done off the field for us. We're the best we've ever been. It's on the field where he needs to keep his nose out of it. Leave it to football people to do football decisions. That's what it's about.
I wonder will it sort of be where, look, I think Daniel Levy will always have more say because, obviously he owns 29.4% of Enoch with his family. Yeah. So he'll always have more say. But it does look like that sort of, you have Daniel Levy and Todd Klein on the business side of things, and then you have this guy, Scott Munster, and Don Paratici sort of on the football side of things. Do you think that can work, Dermot? Because it's 4 people with a hell of a lot of say, all trying to bring deals to the table, whether it's commercial, whether it's players, this, that, and the other. Can that work? There's a lot of people involved there, right?
Well, firstly, we don't know what's happened to Paratici. Is he leaving? Is he staying? I mean, it reminds me of the Clash song. The Clash song is "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" That's Paratici's theme song at the moment. If he stays, I think it can work. Because I think there has to be rules and there has to be something drawn down the middle. You deal with that. We're dealing with this. That's it. I think it can work. I think Paratici, if he had another strong person next to him, he can concentrate on what he's good at. That's finding players. Leave Scott Munn to deal with the rest of the club, deal with the youth system, deal with the structure of the club. I think it can work, but this is Tottenham. Let's be fair. Anything it'll work well for 6 months, and then something will come out in the paper. He said this to me. He said that to me. Then it all blows up. Look, we don't know. We just have to see. But Paratici is the key. Is he staying or is he going? It all depends. And then if he stays, then look, we'll see what happens. If it goes, then looks like Scott Munn is going to take the full control of everything, which I think that's what they're trying to do. I think that's what he's coming to do, to be fair. And I thank Paratici for his services and what he's done for us. I think his job's become untenable now. He has to go.
You've also got Greta Steinson, who's his number 2 as well. So, like, there's a lot of people sort of clogging up positions at this club. It's sort of becoming like our loan list or our first 11 in terms of people coming in. It's just clogged up with people. It's so many ideas, and maybe it could be an expression of too many cooks.
Yeah. I can just very quickly, Dave. I can remember a time where it was the chairman, the manager. That was it. That's who ran the football club. The manager wanted money. You go to the chairman. He gives you the money. You get the player. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, and it ain't working. So let's go back to how it used to be. It works. It's a proven record. It works.
You might even see a call of what Paratici done here over the summer by the looks of it with this guy. But look, very interesting to see how it pans out. We're just sort of, what you would say, procrastinating on it, maybe what way it could go and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see how it works out. But Dermo, we do have the results from the Athletic poll. Over to you, Jacko.
Dermot, this is what the Athletic, they interviewed 4,000 different Spurs fans. Seems like they didn't interview any of us, but, that's besides the point here. They said, with so much uncertainty around Tottenham, we polled fans on the big issues at the club. 91.4%, Dermot, of those 4,000 said they don't trust Levy with on-field matters. 86% agree with the Conte sacking. 48% want Nagelsmann as their new boss, and 50.6% say style is more important than trophies. I think there were some other things that they were, polled on as well, Dermot, but any of those that you want to talk about here, any of these results?
Well, the last one, I'd like to know what they were smoking or what they were taking when they actually answered that poll. They must have been on something very great, because I want some of it.
But this has been something associated with Spurs recently, especially where it's like, even I'm hearing it on Talk Sport a lot. Like it is a very, what would you say, like a very common opinion, right? That some people just want to see some nice looking football.
Look, we all want nice looking football, but we all want trophies at the end of the day. You can with Poch, we had the best looking football on in years. Didn't win us anything. We still ended up trophyless. So I'd rather have trophies. With the Conte one, I agree what Conte said. I agree it wasn't the right place, but I think he lost his rag, and I think he just, look, enough's enough. And I think he told a few home truths. So I think he made his job untenable. I think that was the problem. I didn't want him sacked. I'd keep him there. It was ruffling a few feathers, and it was generally going to work. I think he made his job untenable by saying what he said when he said it, and I think that was the problem. What was the other one, Jack? Was it Nagelsmann?
Nagelsmann, I think it's like 48%, so nearly half that 4,000 one.
Before Dermo moves on to the Nagelsmann, I just wanted to say quickly on the style of play more important than trophies. I think that's a reflection of fans getting fed up with the last 3 appointments. Mourinho, Nuno, Conte, the sort of, they're what would you call it? Their pragmatic approach sort of thing. I think fans are getting fed up with that. But when you get, like when we go down the other route of consistently good football, like we had under Pochettino, Fans are still going to want trophies after.
Yeah, what would they have said if it was Pochettino after the Champions League, let's say after we got knocked out, or not knocked out, after we lose in the Champions League final? What would Spurs fans have said then, right? It is kind of always sort of, is it recency bias? That seems like a hard word, because of course it's been 3 managers, like you said, Dave, that have sort of made Spurs fans think this way. And you don't really blame them when they do see 3 different managers kind of put them through this. But like you said there, would it be 50%, of this 4,000 had it been just post Champions League final? Maybe not.
Nowhere near it.
Probably be the other way around.
Trophies. Yeah, it would have been trophies. I think it's just a reflection of the, people fed up with the sort of dull shit football that we all have to watch, and you just want sort of on the front foot, exciting football. But after a period, you put that same question to fans, they're not going to say, "Oh, I want pragmatic football." They're going to say, "I want trophies to come with it." Mm-hmm. So
that's a good point, Dave.
With that. But sorry, Dermot, you want to talk about the Nagels, man?
Look, just very quickly on what you were talking about, Dave. Look, we've been starved of success for so long, and the football has not been great. I'll grant you. Monday was the first time I've missed a Tottenham match in 30-something years. I couldn't be bothered to watch it because I knew what was going to happen. But we have to win trophies. It's the name of the game. It doesn't matter if you play counter-attacking football or brilliant football. We have to win trophies. And this 50% say they want style more important than trophies. They're talking out of their backsides.
We had 50% it was. In fact, I'm going to put the call out there. Anyone who participated in this article, let me know. I need to know that there at least someone participated in this article.
With Nagelsmann, look, I knew we were never going to get him, but I would love the Celtic manager to come to us. I think he's doing a great job. I know Scottish football is completely different to English football. I get that, but I think he's doing a fantastic job up there. And then the other one, the top one, really is self-explanatory. Look, we all don't trust Levy with on-field matters, so that's I agree with that one. But with the bottom one, I'm completely at a loss. I'm really am at a loss with that. That means thinking, shakes my head in thinking, I want trophies more than style of play. And there's people that want football and trophies. Well, I want a trophy first, then concentrate on the style of play.
Look, everything is about gearing towards trophies. I think that's more of a signal of we want to see attractive football first and then go and win trophies. Sort of plotting away 2 trophies, I think, more so. But Dermo, let's move on and have a discussion on the Brighton game, and then we'll let you plug your channel, my man. Okay. Of course, we've a really tricky fixture coming up tomorrow. Is it make or break this one for top 4 in your opinion?
Yeah, what did you make of our discussion on that?
Yeah. I think it is make or break. If we lose tomorrow, then it's all over. Brighton are such an attractive, good side to watch. Really impressed with them this season. Look, I read somewhere, somebody sent me something that we might be after the Brighton manager. Now, if he was to come in, I wouldn't be too disappointed because the way he's got them playing. I think Brighton could win the FA Cup this year. I've got a sneaky feeling Brighton could get to a cup final and get top 4. And I'm very... If we lose tomorrow, then our season's over. I'd be quite happy if we didn't qualify for Europe altogether. Just stay out of it. Just don't bother qualifying for Europe. Just concentrate on the league and the cups next season and rebuild. I think for me that's what I want. It's for me. I'm broken as a Spurs fan. I don't want to know anything about Tottenham. I love the club, always will do, but I'm broken. Keith Birkinshaw got it spot on when he left in 1984. There used to be a football club over there, and I miss my Tottenham. I miss the club we were. I miss how we used to be. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my Spurs heart to see us like this. When we shouldn't be like this. And you see the likes of Brighton, Newcastle, other teams around us that were always below us, that were always haven't won trophies in donkeys of years. Now have jumped ahead of us. Man United are going to jump ahead of us. The lot down the road are going to jump ahead of us. Liverpool will probably jump ahead of us next season. They're going to rebuild in the summer. We've got to get back to basics. Getting back to basics is connecting with the fans, connecting with Tottenham's soul. Let's get back to the Bill Nick way. Let's get back to what this club was founded on. Until we do, I think none of us will be fully whole. with Tottenham. I think there will always be a break. Dave, 42 years, and I'm done. I'm done with Tottenham.
I don't blame you, Dermo. Many people are fed up with this season, sort of end this season. You know what? Too many times recently have our seasons come to an end early. Since 2019, out of the 3 or 4 seasons we've had, only one we were in it right to the end with that Champions League race last year. Every other season has been a write-off early. And this can't continue to happen like this. No. You know, we've always been a club ever since I've started supporting it where, you know, you've always been in the hunt for something sort of come the end of the season, whether it's, you know, a European, you know, whether it's European place, whether, you know, it's one of the 3 domestic trophies we used to pick up every decade, you know, so this has to change. This has to change.
Can I just quote something somebody said at the bottom?
Yeah.
Would you effing beep and shut your mouth? I am not a Levy lover. I've been through more stress the last 2 weeks than any that Dave and Jack know about. I've come in here because I love talking about Tottenham. So if you want to take your opinion, shove it up your hole and stick it somewhere else. Because I'm sick to death of this. I am absolutely had the backbone of it. You have an opinion, and then people say that crap in the chat. I'm sorry, Dave. I know I shouldn't have said what I said, and I apologise.
No, stand up for yourself, Dermot. Dermot, stand up for yourself. I appreciate that.
Stand up for yourself. I just want to say something. I don't think there's anyone out there that is a Levy lover. It's an invented term made up to aim at people who won't get down and protest and stuff like that. Instead of blaming everyone else and going around labeling them Enoch lovers, Levy lovers, this, that, and the other, actually ask the hard questions. Why won't people get down and support? Ask that instead of going around blaming fans all the time. But Dermot, why don't you plug THFC till I die, my man? What's coming up on it?
Yeah, we've been away for a few weeks, and firstly, I want to thank you, Dave and Jack, and the Harris Army for your kind support and words, and Philip and Mia and everyone. It really does. It really has helped. So I want to thank everyone for that. We got coming up. We're back next week. Philip's back from New York next Wednesday. That's where that man has more traveling for Ireland than anyone. And we've got old games coming up. We're going to go back to the old games, and we're going to sort of debate what's happening at Tottenham and a bit on the women's side as well and the men's side. And
nice.
We're just going to have a bit of fun with it, and then start again for summer and take it from there. So, but I do apologise for saying what I said, Dave.
No, stand up for yourself.
You're entitled to stick up to yourself for yourself. Everyone does, lad. Everyone does. Dermo, big yourself up, my man. Everyone, please get over there and show the support to Dermatron. And look, Dermo, we'll speak again soon, brother.
Yeah,
really
thank you, Dermot. Thank you too again for the support. It's really been appreciated. So thank you.
Great call, Dermot. Great call.
See you later.
Big up, my man.
See ya.
Legend. Everyone, give Dermot a big up in the chat there. Everyone, give him one. Big yourself up, Dermot. Good call in. We've got a super chat here from Wayne Bonner. Big up, Wayne. Oh, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. What are you up to for Easter? Sorry, says just joined. Anyone know anything about Scott Munn? Yeah, look, he was a part of the Australian Olympics Committee. He's done stuff in rugby league, a part of the City Group in China, and a part in Australia as well. But no real experience sort of in European football, Wayne. Jack, anything to add to that?
Here it is from The Athletic here, Wayne, just so I can read it for you so you don't have to read it yourself. The top, kind of important lines are that the Australian is currently the chief executive of City Football Group in China and has previously held the same position at Melbourne City FC. He is making a move to the Premier League, though, Wayne, and it is his first move to an actual European football club, with his remit, though, also taking the club's academy as well as the club's women's team back into focus. So he's basically here to sort of improve all the off-field staff as well as basically all the runnings and kind of workings of the structure of the football club and the operations, Wayne. He's being brought in to basically do a big role here. And I guess Greater Steinson, Andy Scolding are all being given promotions. It's kind of just a new dog, basically, that's answering to Levy, but a new guy that I guess is sort of taking on the crisis by the looks of things. Scott, I guess he's the one that's basically in charge of taking on this mess of Tottenham Hotspur, and we'll see how he fares with it. A lot of people are a bit concerned, Wayne, though, the fact that he doesn't exactly have a lot of experience with, being this type of role at an actual European football club. So that is concerning for sure. But like maybe someone, I think it was Jimmy who brought up earlier, Jimmy Costco said at the same time, like you look at some other people who do have experience at this high level, not all of them are actually that great at their job either. So we wish Scott all the best.
Big up, Scott. Look, hopefully you can come in and do a good job because, just kind of carrying on from what Jack is saying, just bored of being in this situation. I just want improvement. I just want to move on forward. So hopefully this guy can do a good job. Whether it's too big for him, I think time will tell. Let's wait and see weighing up. But we can't afford to have too many more people coming into this club that aren't turning the fortunes around before it turns sour, my man. Beat yourself up, brother. I really appreciate support. Like I said, hopefully you and the family and have a good Easter win. Big yourself up, my man. And then we also, who is it? Brian Dempsey's coming in here. Big up, Brian Dempsey. Good to see you. James Joris is in there. Ian Ferguson. And then someone was sneaking in there. Wayne Holland. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. But look, let's keep kicking this on. Who have we got next? It is Mia. So let's get her on. Oi. How are we keeping?
Not too bad. I see that the sun's shining down on you, Dave. Maybe that's a good sign for the weekend.
I don't know whether it's a good sign or exposing all my flaws in my looks. I'm not too sure, Mia. But either way, I look golden and I feel good. So that's the main thing. But look, yeah, where do we start? Do you want to start with the Brighton game? Do you want to start with Scott Munn? Do you want to start with Old?
We can start with Scott Munn. I don't really know an awful lot about him. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Because where we're in the situation with Paratici, I think that we can't really get rid of him until anything's been definitively done with this whole case. So we've have to wait. But then I suppose that we need someone in to do some of the jobs that Paratici. I don't know if he's really doing any of the jobs that Paratici does because he's taken a step back. So I suppose it's like he's sort of stepping in temporarily, possibly. For longer, like it's a bit of like an uncertain, isn't it? Like we don't know exactly what this guy is, his role truly is going to be until Paratici isn't there. If Paratici isn't there, that is. And if he is staying, then again, what's going to happen with him? It's just all a little bit strange, isn't it? Like it's a bit of a strange one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's sort of, if Paratici is to go, does this guy take on the role of, recruitment, stuff like that in terms of players and stuff? Is he there to have someone like Paratici there and he sort of just oversees what Paratici is doing? It is a bit weird. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is with this. All I can see is too many people having an input when it comes to all these deals being brought to the table.
Yeah, it's like when they say too many chefs spoil the broth. It's a bit like that. That's what it kind of feels like. There's just too many chefs at the moment, all there.
They're all sipping it. They're all tasting it. They're all
all adding a bit more salt. The other one's like, no, that's too much salt. Let's add more pepper. Let's add this flavouring in. And it's just going to taste awful in the end because it's going to be too
I agree with you, Mia. I agree with you. And also I've said this before and I made a joke about it, that Spurs often seem like sort of the type of, they do kind of consider themselves like a company, let alone, they do call themselves the entertainment group or whatever. But I feel like they are sort of a, type of organization that probably has 1,000 different committees with subcommittees and then subcommittees to the subcommittees. And it's just all this red tape and yellow tape that you have to get through in order to just make one decision on something, right? And I think Spurs often seem to kind of come across as that sort of football club where it seems like it goes through a bunch of hoops and ladders just to get one decision made.
Yeah, it's too complicated. It makes it too complicated and convoluted. Like, why do we need that many people? Like, just keep it simple. Keep a simple amount of people involved with things. So then it's just, it's not so complicated. Because it just, like I say, feels like it's just making things complicated. Unless it is to do with the Celtic manager, Postecoglou. Maybe it's something to do with him, that he obviously liked him. Could it be that we're thinking in the summer that's who we're going to aim for, that, we've spoken to? We don't know. So, because apparently there is someone who we're looking at more closely. That's what was being said. But that was a Premier League manager. So I don't know. All these rumours are coming out. It's very confusing trying to suss out what's what. But yeah, it could be something to do with him, because obviously if he liked him before, the Australian link, there's obviously that possibility, I suppose.
I feel like with Postecoglou, I guess, sort of being connected for this Australian, kind of reason, if Postecoglou were to all of a sudden become a front runner, I wouldn't be surprised if we get sort of news articles and everything about that, Mia, come Monday. Postecoglou, are you Like,
Oh,
is that the type
yeah,
of football that you're okay with? Is that the type of guy you're
that's
okay with? What are your
yeah.
thoughts?
I think that I'll be willing to give him a go. Like at the moment, I just don't want Potter or Brendan Rodgers particularly. So right now, my expectations are like that we're going to end up probably with something like that. However, I don't want. I would rather have Bostogoglu than to have Rodgers or Potter. So yeah, I'd rather have company than have to have him. So to have them.
Hmm.
So to me, it's not a bad option, not at all. And he's Greek. He's a good Greek man. Of course. Of course,
It's
I'm
a
going to back my
grounding.
Greek boy. Of course, always.
He comes across like a company, though, where he could probably he
Yeah.
seems to command respect, whereas he might not have the European pedigree or sort of experience that maybe other managers have. But at the same time, it's not like even a quiet authority. He seems to very much
No.
have an authority about him that you wouldn't want to
Listen,
come across. Same thing with Vincent Company. So it's a
Greek
good thing.
people are very passionate people. So one thing you'll know, he'll be a very passionate man. Like you know, if when you just talk to me, sometimes I might raise my voice, and it's not being rude. I'm not trying to be horrible to anybody. It's just that I'm very passionate. I'm a very passionate person, so I get very involved in it. And like if you could see me on camera, I'll move my hands a lot. Like I'm very much, you know, a bit like what you do when you are Italian in that sort of way. Like so, he'll be very, very passionate. I can imagine he's a very passionate man as well, which is something that you like. Like I like seeing that passion on the line, to be honest with you. Like when even with Poch, he was quite passionate about things. You could see, you know, he was very much getting into it, getting into the feeling of it, and I like that. So if he comes in, like I say, that I would be willing to give him a chance. I would never like say whoever comes in, I'm going to be like, nope, that's it, I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
I'm never going to walk away from the club I love. So to me, whoever comes in, I just wouldn't be particularly happy if Rodgers or Potter came in. Although I think Potter was given a bit of a hard time. I think that what happened with Todd Bowley he was just a bit mad what he did. Let's be honest. The players found out on social media that their manager got sacked. Like that's a wild way to kind of behave, not professionally. He's not very professional. So I know we say that Levy doesn't have enough contact with the fans, but I think he went on to too much on the other side. You need like that happy medium. And so, yeah, I think that Potter's probably a little bit hard done by, in my opinion, in the whole thing. But I still don't think Tottenham is the place for him. I don't know. I wouldn't be, I'd be a bit unsure.
I'm just not convinced on Potter because when I look at Brighton and Chelsea, they didn't score a lot of goals, and I think that's where the floor is in his management. You think at Chelsea, you know, he's got a lot better players than what he had at Brighton, and it's still never really, you know,
Scored.
clicked for him with the about 4 players. So I'll be a bit concerned about someone like Potter coming in here, to be honest with you. But look, this new manager search, God knows how much longer it's going to go on for. Probably go on for another few weeks. They're probably going to try and beat the record they set under Nuno. What was it, 71, 72 days? So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
But,
Do you want
Hopefully
to?
not.
Yeah.
Is there another topic that you want to talk about, Mia, or did you want to talk
We
about
could
maybe
do the
this athletic
poll.
poll?
Yeah, we could do the athletic poll. That's very interesting what the results were.
Yeah, what did you make? Is it the bottom one that you want to talk about? The other ones, maybe?
Yeah,
Which one?
the bottom one is, I think, Joe, I feel like I feel like the fans have just given up on winning anything. I feel like some of the fans, we're just like, do you know what? I don't care anymore. I just want to see nice football because we didn't win anything when we did have nice football with Poch. And then we went through these managers who didn't play nice football, who are winning managers, and we still didn't win anything. So just bring me back that nice football. So it feels
Back
like
in
that's the
beginning, yeah.
kind of, it feels like we've gone round in that loop and everyone's just so fed up with it. They're just like, sod it. I'll just give me the style of football. And that's
What'd you
what
make
it
of
feels
Dave's
like.
point? What'd you make of Dave's point? Like the fact that, right, like maybe if you had interviewed Spurs fans, 4,000 Spurs fans after we had lost the Champions League final, maybe a lot of them would have said, yeah, I want a trophy, anything for a trophy right now. But now, like you just said, we've gone through 3 different managers where the football hasn't been that great. And it's not maybe a surprise that this is actually maybe
I think because we were so close to it at that point. Now we're so far removed from winning anything that we're just a bit like, well, we're so far away from it that it's sort of like stuff it with just play nice football. Because before, when we were playing that football and got so close, we was just that little smidgen away from it, you know. So that's how it feels like to me. It just feels like fans have just given up and just want to watch nice football. That's sort of how probably I view that particular one. I feel like that's what probably people did. If that was an honest vote, obviously you can't tell how honest that vote was. If it was truly just Tottenham fans voting, you just don't know, do you? Like, you can't tell who voted on that.
Some rival shithousery going on here. That's what me is saying.
Well, you never know, because you never know who's going to say, yeah, I'm a Tottenham fan, I'll do this, and pretend that they're a Tottenham fan. You can't prove they're not Tottenham fans, you know. Like, I'm always a bit suspicious of these online polls anyway, like I say, because you don't know who's really voting in them, if it's really,
Yeah. And look, let's move on to the Brighton game then, Mia, because look, there's no point in speaking about the 86% that voted for Daniel Levy. I think it's kind of a reflection of where fans are at right now. So let's talk about this Brighton game. You know, if we lose, is top four over, or are you one that still has a bit of hope regardless?
Do you know what? I'm going to sound crazy, but I'm always going to have hope until it's literally impossible. Until it's mathematically impossible, there's always a way. There's always a chance of that happening, you know. So I don't think I'll give up until it's mathematically impossible. I think it's unlikely if we don't win this game tomorrow. I think that's probably where I'm at. I think it's unlikely, but I never want to give up and say no this one game, because you just don't know what might happen in inconsistencies with other teams. You just don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna be doom and gloom and say that's it, tomorrow's game and it's over. But I feel like it's unlikely if we don't win that game tomorrow, and it's going to be a tough game. Let's be honest, it's going to be a difficult game. It's not going to be easy.
Do you think it could be a little contentious in the crowd, Mia, because De Zerbi is playing a type of football that a lot of fans have been wanting to see, think that Spurs are capable of, kind of etc., right? And then we might find ourselves probably sitting back against his team, trying to hit them on the counter. Like, I could see the game kind of going about that way. Do you think Spurs fans in the crowd, and even yourself, like watching the game on the couch or whatever, will you be kind of a bit upset kind of seeing that? And I don't blame you if you do feel a bit upset, because seeing a guy like De Zerbi who's kind of kicking ass right now, it's hard not to be, you know, a little bit, you know, kind of cock your head, right?
Yeah, no, of course. Like, we're gonna obviously, if we come out and we don't play well, everybody's going to be upset and frustrated with it 100%. Like, why wouldn't we be? Because at the end of the day, it's not what we want to see. But at the moment, we're in a bit of a crossroads, because we're trying to get a new manager. It's going to be difficult for us to completely change it up. But I think that from what I heard, Stellini was talking about the youth as well in the press conference. I don't know if he's going to even change it. I don't think personally he will change it, but we can only hope that something does change. But yeah, it's going to be really, really like frustrating if that's what we do at home. It will be frustrating, because we don't want to see that. We don't. And to be honest, in that first half Everton game, though we weren't very controlled, it wasn't a very good, we didn't have control of the game. It wasn't bad. We wasn't awful. We looked like we were trying to attack at least. And it was just after that we went down to 10 men. They went down to 10 men, sorry, and we got the penalty. And then after that, it seemed like we were just like,
it got worse.
It got worse. It's like, oh, sweet, we've got the goal. We're not going to bother now. Like, what was that about? Like, I don't get it. But before that, in that first half, like I said, I didn't think that was the most awful first half I've seen. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. So to me, it was just a bit like of a funny one. But if we do that, where we play like we did in that first half, slightly more controlled maybe, but have that energy, I think fans would be happy if we did that at home. People want to see that. People want to see us having that bit more high intensity, high energy, but just don't keep losing the ball and being silly with it. Yeah. Like, that was my big problem. Like, honestly, and it was everybody. It was like it was a disease catching. Højbjerg was doing it. Skippy was doing it. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. It was just catching. And then the big mistake at the like with Lloris making mistakes at the back. Oh, why have we got Lloris in? Honestly, he makes me nervous, so nervous. When he kicks it out, I'm like, I literally like breathe in, hold my breath for a second because I'm like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Even when a pass goes his direction, I get nervous because his first touch I know can let him down as well. But Mia, I think that was honestly a lot of great things that you said there. But the reason I kind of asked you that, and I'm curious what Dave thinks too, is just because Brighton is sort of being used as an example of like on so many levels, like of what Spurs fans want us to operate like. If Spurs fans want us to operate like Brighton when it comes to the transfers, like, you know, if we are going to spend maybe more within our means, why don't we do it like Brentford and Brighton do, right? That's what a lot of people have said. And also like the style of football that they have over there, the direction of, you know, where they go and, you know, what they're doing. And if somebody leaves the system, it doesn't mean, you know, everything is ruined. They have a replacement lined up right away, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be, that's what I kind of meant. Like, it's going to be interesting to see us come up against this team because it feels like me, myself, I've been guilty of using Brighton as like the example of what we all want our club to be run like. And De Zerbi is even an extension of that. He's like a manager that everybody wants us to be like.
I think the one thing I would say, Jack, is that the Brighton pressure is less so than the Tottenham pressure. So if they finish in the Europe this season, then that's an amazing, amazing season for them. So I think that we've got to put it on the perspective of they haven't got that pressure that what Tottenham have, because Tottenham have been up there. It's a more pressurized situation. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I do think the pressure is a little bit different. You know, we're not
they're flying
really
high.
comparable.
They're almost like they have nothing to lose. It feels like at this stage.
Yeah, that's it. Like, because at the start of the season, what was their expectation? Was it to try and challenge for that, like up where they are now? Probably not. Maybe a little bit more.
Maybe a conference league push.
Maybe a conference league. Yeah, exactly. So when you think about it, they're obviously probably meeting expectations and exceeding the expectations slightly. So I think that their pressure is like there isn't any because they're doing well for them. That's really good for them. Not being disrespectful to anybody who supports Brighton at all, but it is different.
I understand. I understand the point you're trying to make. You're spot on. And look, this is why the game could easily go tits up tomorrow because there's nothing really expected of them, you know, and there's a lot expected of us, and we've crumbled under pressure situations down the years. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, whether we can actually stand up and handle it. But with how fractured everything is, I highly doubt it. But Mia, very good call in today. We didn't argue for once, actually. We didn't argue. I tried my best. I tried my best to find something to argue about, but I couldn't today. But Mia, why don't you tell people what's coming up at Spurs Between the Lines?
Was that saying you're trying to pick arguments with me, David? Tut. I'm going to have to put you in the naughty corner.
I'm only having a laugh.
Yeah, I know. And anybody, when me and David talk, it's never anything personal because honestly, I get on so well with Dave. Like, it's never anything like that. I get on really well with everybody. Like, it's just that I'm very passionate, like I say, about my point of view. So it comes across like I'm being like that, but it really isn't. That's it. I'm just passionate. That's it.
You know, when you get two passionate people in the same room, and you know, it's constant clash because of the passion.
That's it.
That's what it's about. But look, honestly, what's coming up on Spurs Between the Lines?
So tomorrow, I'm going to attempt to do a preview of the match at 8:45 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So if you're up, come and join me. I don't know if I'll be able to really predict. Probably, I think I've predicted 11 now. We know. I think it's probably slightly easier. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tough one to kind of go through because it's not much positivity coming at the moment with Tottenham. So it's quite difficult when you're trying to do a preview and try and be a bit more upbeat. I try and be upbeat, but yeah, it's not always an easy feat. Even last week, someone commented and said, "You don't sound convinced." When I did my score predictions. So that's how much I'm just like, I sound defeated at the moment. I'm just like, yeah, I don't even sound positive when I try and give a positive.
Yeah, I just throw like a 2-0 sometimes.
Yeah, I give it like I say like a 2-1, but I don't sound convinced. I'm not convinced about it. I'm just a bit like, 2-1, maybe. But so I try my best to be a bit more. I try and be quite level-headed about most things and most of the time. But yeah, sometimes it just gets too much. You just talk about it all the time, and you're just like, oh my goodness, it just drives you up the wall, really.
Mm-hmm. It definitely
So
does.
yeah,
Well, Mia, thank you. Great chat. Great answers, honestly, to all the things that we brought up here. I think you honestly were very efficient about it too. But honestly, I really enjoyed a lot of what you had to say. This kind of flew by. I'll be honest, flew by.
yeah, it did fly by.
Well done. Everybody, head on over to Mia's channel. Check out Spurs Between the Lines, please. Show her some support. Fresh off, I know, hitting 300. The push to 400 is on. And
Yep.
yeah, come on, you Spurs, Mia. And in the
Congrats.
vacant manager position, we trust.
I say in the fans we trust, because we're the ones
Nice.
that we can rely on, because we're always there no matter what. We're there regardless. So it's in the fans we trust. That's what we need to do.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I love that.
love that. Love that. Well, Mia, congratulations on the 300. Let's get
Thank
Mia a big
you.
push to 400. And yeah, we'll speak again soon, Mia. Thank
Speak
you for
soon.
your time this afternoon.
Right, take care, guys.
All right.
See you,
See
Mia.
you soon, man.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Everyone, do get over and check out Spurs Between the Lines and check out what Mia has to offer. I know she does a morning show for all you early risers out there. If you're up and you want something in the morning, get over and check out Mia's channel. But look, let's keep this moving. We got more guests that want to have their say, and it's absolutely fantastic. The next one in the building is the one and
KPV.
only KPV. I'm going to start calling him the MVP. That's what I'm going to call him. The most vital person.
MVP.
How you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm keeping good.
What do you make of the news today about bringing in Scott Munn, another guy in charge of football operations?
Never heard of him. Yeah, he was the chairman or owner of Sydney. Was it an Australian or
Melbourne.
Chinese?
Yeah, Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne in Australia. Like, never heard of him. It's like people never heard of Kulu Bentacle when we brought them in last January. Not this one, last January. People never heard of him, but we bought him. So I've not heard of this guy. But if the jabroni goes, Paratici, then he's going to replace him. But he's Paratici's boss for the time being. But
Yeah.
he.
What do you think, KPV? Is he, because someone brought up earlier how like Edu over at Arsenal, he didn't actually have a ton of experience or anything beforehand. Arteta didn't have a ton of experience. Do you give Scott Munn a chance, or are you already kind of worried maybe that he's never worked for a European club?
I'll give Scott Moon a chance, I think. Yeah, give Scott Moon a chance and see how he goes. Like, yeah, see how he does, and maybe.
Do you think it could just be Paratici in disguise, maybe?
Yeah, he could be Paratici in disguise. Yeah, could be them. Yeah.
It's a disaster is what the whole situation is. Again,
confusing part too is he's not in charge of picking the manager at the look, right?
I know people are saying, maybe it's to bring a bit of good PR, but it just confuses me a lot more than what I already was, to be honest with you. It just adds more confusion to what's going on. It's weird. But look, hopefully you can do a good job though, KPV, because we all want this club to start going in the right direction again and start sort of building what we had under Pochettino. So hopefully he does do a good job. But KPV, something I know you probably do want to have your say on, is 50.6% say style is more important than trophies, and that's in the Spurs community. What would you say on that?
Did you vote, KPV?
I haven't voted, but I want trophies, not style, and trophies is what the fans want. Like, yeah, trophies, man, not style. Like,
are you surprised though to see maybe that over? I know it's not much over, but over 50% of fans care more about the style than they do trophies.
Nah, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I just want trophies, not style, because that's not in our DNA. Style trophies is in our DNA, and yeah, I just want us to start winning the trophy again, because those lot have been who are top have been taking a piss out of us for decades, and we took the mick out of them when they didn't win a trophy since 2005. In 2013-14, that was when they ended that drought, and we took the mick out of them, and they took the mick out of us still. But So basically, we've took the mick out of each other, the two clubs, but like they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Like they're saying Kane and Son are the reason we haven't won anything, but that's not true. Like Levy's the blame, not the two players I just mentioned. Like people are saying Kane and Son deserve better at other clubs, which I understand, and I agree they do. But like, yeah, they probably do. But Kane ain't gonna win anything here, probably. But hopefully,
What do you think?
he does.
KPV, is it? Big up, Shawnee. Good to see you, Sean.
Big up, Shawnee. Good to
What
see
do you think? What do you think, KPV? Is it the fact that, like maybe what Dave was saying, like Spurs fans have kind of undergone 3 different managers where the style of football hasn't been as exciting as Pochettino, and now that they've kind of had to go through that without any trophies or any success to look to, they're kind of just want to go back to maybe what the days were like under Pochettino. Is maybe that's why it's 50%? They just want to go back to the old days.
I probably want, like
They don't want another Jose or somebody
No.
like that, or another Nuno.
nah, don't want another Nuno content. Yeah, don't want another Conte or Nuno. Nah, because we want the football that Poch played, and that's what the fans want. Like, yeah, bring the guy back because he's made it clear he wants to return. But I heard he's rejected. But nah, that's just a bit of fake news. Rejected. Nah, come back, boss. Come home. We missed you, man. And I liked what he said. He'd rather work on a farm than manage Arsenal. That's what I love from Poch. Big up, Poch. I love what he said. And apparently Chelsea are interested. Well, they can do one because they ain't getting him. He would never go there. Like, why would he go there? Like, he smacked them 5-3, if people remember, in 2015, New Year's Day. Just a few weeks after he lost to them 3-0 at the bridge, we slapped them 5-3 when Kane burst on the scene. 2 goals. That was his first goal against a big club, he said. So, no, Chelsea fans, you ain't getting a guy who slapped you 5-3, and you ain't getting Poch, lad. So, Chelsea fans want Poch, no chance. He will never join you. He said he'd rather work on the farm than manage London rivals, and Tottenham is the club he loves. And so, yeah, Tottenham through and through. Come home, boss, because I still have goosebumps from that Amsterdam night, and I still can't stop watching it. So we want the old nights back. So come home, boss. We miss you, man, and yeah, bring those nights back. We want them nights back.
I'll be honest, KPV. I don't want to ruin your Easter weekend, but I would say Pochettino ain't coming to Tottenham because he's been available and he's been around for quite some time, and it's one that they could have got done to replace Conte and not put Stellini and Mason in charge. And the fact that it hasn't happened, I would probably say they're looking elsewhere because there's conflicting reports. Some reports are saying he's turned us down. Other reports are saying he's waiting to the end of the season, and other reports are saying, Tottenham haven't even made an approach for him. So, look, it'd be interesting to see what happens. But KPV, we've got Brighton tomorrow. The Seagulls, I've got my pellet gun ready to shoot them down. Look, my man, but maybe I'll ask you a different question, maybe rather than, sort of, do you think we're going to make top 4? Is there any changes you want to see made tomorrow?
I want to see a few changes, actually. I want Fraser Forster back in goal because he hasn't made any errors leading to goal. Only the man who just came back from injury, Lloris, did. But I want Fraser Forster back in goal because I think he's been better than Hugo, but not world-class goalkeeper. But the last few games, he's been better than him. But yeah, I want to win tomorrow, but yeah, Stellini and Mason are still going to probably stick with him. Not Fraser.
Perisic, would you drop him? Would that be another change, KPB?
Leighton. Perisic. Well, who's gonna play there? Like,
Hmm.
Seth is still injured. Like, can Pedro Porro play there? Like, he's a right wing back. I know. Like, is Perisic the only one we've got? Like,
Hmm.
I want Perisic dropped because he didn't.
But he's all we got. Yeah.
He's all we got, but he still wants to leave in the summer. Like, yeah, you can say goodbye, kid. You only scored 1 goal. That was Southampton before international break. So well done. And yeah, like, go wherever you go, but not a London Rivals kid, because those lot apparently want Conte back at Stamford Bridge. But if Perisic goes there, then they're getting slapped up again. But
Brighton, KPV, do you think they are looking like a European team this season? Do you think they'll finish in European places? Could they finish ahead of us?
I hope they don't finish ahead of us, because I don't think they've ever finished in a European place before. Like,
No.
but no, but hopefully they'll finish 5th. We can finish 4th, because Europa League, that would be nice for them. Champions League still for us. Like, Thursdays, Brighton can enjoy Thursdays while we enjoy Tuesday, Wednesday. As I said to Ben and Sim, I don't want Thursdays, because everyone knows what's going to happen to me. I will never watch that. I do not want Thursdays, because I want the big night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Like,
You need to keep it free for SmackDown and Raw, right?
yeah, like, that's what I want. I need to keep it for Raw and SmackDown and other pay-per-views, but I can't watch Tottenham at the moment because something's wrong with my Skybox. I can't watch SmackDown this evening. So now that's only going to ruin my weekend, so I can't watch it. So
we'll have to.
I guess I have to watch the highlights.
You're going to have to go and get that sorted, KPV. It's absolutely important, my man. Can't have you without the wrestling and the football. That's not right. Trouble's a brewing without that, I'm sure. But KPV, my man, why don't you sign out? What you signing out with today? Who's letting the dogs out?
Who's letting the dogs out?
Scott? You're going to trust Scott to let him out?
Not yet. Scott, not just yet. Maybe next, after the Bournemouth game, but not for the Brighton game. Who let the jabronis and the hounds out? Kane did. Cooley did. So
nice.
The front three did. So
KPV did too. I think you should just, because they should have brought KPV in along with Scott.
He's got no Skybox, so he's got time to do it today. You can do it, KPV.
Yeah, I do, but I want to win tomorrow, but I'm going 2-2, as I said, but hopefully I'm wrong. I want a win. So 2-2 at the moment. And goal scorer, obviously it's going to be Kane, because he has got 205 Premier League goals, but hopefully he can get a hat-trick. That'll be 208, and he'll go level with Rooney. So a hat-trick tomorrow for Mr. Kane. I need more FPL points from the big man. So more FPL points from Harry. And yeah, so in the fans we trust. That's now, because the fans turn up, the players don't. But we need them behind us tomorrow at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They got lucky the last time they came because of ED letting a goal in, turn his back. So tomorrow, not doing the same tomorrow, please. Virgil van Dijk. Not again, please, because you let us down. That was the first time they've beaten us, but it's not happening again. 2 seasons in a row they've beaten us. No, thank you. Let's win tomorrow. And yeah, so I'm off.
Give me a big come on, you Spurs, lad.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Come on, you Spurs. Come on.
Big up, KPV. Big up, KPV. Speak to you again soon, my man.
See you soon. All right.
See you, KPV. Good man.
Everybody, big KPV up in the chat. Love that guy. Love that guy. But look, let's keep this moving. Welcome to Shawnee in the chat as well. Big up, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well, brother. But look, let's keep this moving. Who have we got next? We have Rufus.
The next is Rufus, I believe. Let's bring him in here.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, Jacko. Love it. Love it.
We're going to have to... Rufus will give you some lessons here. But Rufus, there's a new Don in charge, Scott Munn. He's now the Don of Dons.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
What's up?
I don't know
How
what
are
to
you?
make of anything anymore. I was writing a message the other night, but I didn't finish it, so I just left it. But it was just like the feeling last summer, you know, like at the end of last season, singing, watching football on a Wednesday night, and everything looked rosy, and the dawn, and a few signings. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean. It wasn't the best window ever, but I didn't expect to be as disappointed with all the signings as I was.
I don't think you expected the dumpster fire that we find ourselves in now after
No.
after that summer.
You know, like even when we went in the first game, when we went, what is it, against Southampton, we went a goal behind. I just looked at Jacob. We were in a pub in London. I said, "Don't worry, mate. We'll get that back."
And we did, but what do you think, Rufus? Is it back to square one then, sort of?
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? But it's what's going to change is well, nothing's changed, does it? We've still got Conte football in the form of Stellini until the end of the season, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sort of, well, I suppose we've. Yeah, but what is Munn's job? Is he a director of football? Is he not a director of football?
The chief football officer. I guess he's head of all the footballing operations. He's even going to be in charge of the decisions made on behalf of the women's team. So he'll probably, hire people within for those roles as well. He's kind of just basically the only guy he answers to is technically Levy.
So the Paratici answers to him, but
yes.
we would still be missing the Paratici if the ban isn't.
Paratici. If Paratici were to remain at Spurs, that would be his new boss. Actually, is Scott.
Yeah. So as long as so we could still go into the summer without having somebody in charge of transfers.
Do you agree? Do you agree with the title here that this is it's two things, I think, for me. It could be one of the two. It's either Levy is actually finding a way to step away from the footballing operations, knowing that there is a crisis here and knowing that Spurs are grabbing a lot of negative attention, a lot of negative media right now. Maybe this is sort of a hiring to, draw a little bit of attention away from Spurs, a bit of good PR, or is it really just good PR and it's still Levy in charge and this guy is just going to kind of be like the other directors of football of the past?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Need you to know.
Depends whether Levy employed him or Lewis employed him, because Levy wasn't doing a good enough job, and that's as far as he can discipline him, is putting somebody in charge of that side, because it's the only side of it that he's bad at, isn't it?
Would you believe it that Levy, seeing all the negative media that's around Spurs, Rufus, I don't know if you look at YouTube or Talk Sport, where it's like, honestly, every single time my YouTube feed comes on, it's either something having to do with Daniel Levy on Talk Sport with Simon Jordan, or it's something like where it's some big thumbnail and it says why Spurs have failed, why Spurs are going backwards, and it's like some big video essay about it. I mean, that's what I'm kind of talking about. That sort of negative media, that sort of negative attention. Could this hiring by Daniel Levy just sort of be a way to sort of make it look like they're headed in the right direction? Like, yeah, he's going to step away from the footballing decisions, knowing that there's going to need to be some big decisions made. It could be all just PR, but I think that's what the purpose at least is. That's at least the bare minimum purpose, is to make it look like Daniel Levy is not making the decisions on the footballing side.
Bit of a smoke screen for somebody to take the blame, maybe.
Smoke screen by Levy. He's learning from Paratici.
You know, like one of them body armor,
You probably get a call soon. They make you up a job so you can take part of the blame.
I don't know. It's just sort of like, at the end of the funny thing is the best I've felt in a long time, and I fell for it, was on April the 1st. I woke up in the morning and I read an article about Daniel Levy being replaced by Joe Lewis's daughter, and it was so well written, like a proper piece. I was really excited until it said at the end, April Fools. And no other April Fools got me, but like, no. And then who's not Dermot, who's the other Irish fella you have on there a lot?
Philip Brady.
And he was, I remember months ago, he was talking about, he'd been to a psychic, and this psychic's brilliant. And,
William Kelly, yeah.
And the 100% Conte would outlive Levy at the club. And it's just sort of like even the best psychic in the world can't understand what Levy's made of.
We're the most unpredictable club, honestly. We're the most unpredictable club. When you wake up every morning, you just know there's something coming. You just know, but you can't predict what department it's going to be, what part of Tottenham it's going to be with. But there is something that happens. Like, you can never just have a normal day like most other clubs. At Tottenham, it is always chaotic. You know, in the morning you could have one thing, and then come 6 o'clock in the evening, it could be a complete different thing. But both things have caused chaos.
Yeah, it's terrible at the moment. I mean, at the end of the day, Levy needs to go, and I can't get behind Stellini because it's just getting behind Levy. If I do that, it's just emboldening him. You know, it's just
How do you get Levy gone, though, man? How do you get him gone? What needs to happen to get everybody out?
My name for him is Daniel Teflon Levy, because shit don't stick to the man. He's made of Teflon. Well, but it's like you pointed out in the warm up at the beginning. Is he actually owns a part of the club, so that makes it even a bit more difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to take him out. He has huge shares in ENIC, as his family has huge shares in ENIC, and then ENIC owns the football club, and then that means therefore he has the shares in the football club and everything. So you would have to, but I think the scarier thing has always been for people, right, Rufus, is that even if we were to sort of be bought out by some consortium, or if some big investment group were to come in and take a big chunk out of ENIC in their sort of, hold on Spurs, Daniel Levy has made it quite clear that he would still like to stick around. So he sees this as his sort of baby. He sees this as his sort of project, as his sort of like, people have described it as his thing to do, right? This is his, like, this is his daily job. This is his life, is doing the ins and outs of the football club. Whether you think he's doing a good job or not is, beside the point, because this is what he wants to be doing. This is like what he would like, it clearly is, to be doing with his life. And so it's going to probably take a lot to get him out of it.
David will probably understand my analogy I'm about to use now, but I'm not too sure you will. But David, you know when you've had Weetabix for breakfast and you leave the bowl for a couple of days and it's dried? You ever tried getting that shit off the bowl? That's like trying to get Levy out of the club.
Lad, you don't even need to leave it a couple of days. If you have a bowl of cereal in the morning, you pop out and you come back in the evening, you go to wash the dishes, it's stuck. It's like concrete.
That's like Levy at this club. It's like, how you get him out of that director's chair, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
We have the most unique situation in the Premier League, so we do. So it's.
Chelsea are trying to do a hold my beer moment, but I don't think they've topped us yet.
Oh well, look. Let's move on to the article here from the Athletic. Any sort of points you want to touch on here, my man? 91.4% don't trust Levy with on-field matters. 86% agree with Conte sacking. 48% want Skinny Jean enthusiast Nagelsmann as new boss. And 50.6% say style is more important than trophies. So, what stat probably shocks you the most?
The last one.
Why?
Well, surely most teams that win trophies play with style. That's why they get into the final and they win it. There's not many boring teams win finals. Sometimes, but like a lot of teams do it with style.
Do you think it's maybe a reflection on the sort of pragmatic football that people have had to watch since Poch, that they sort of just want to get back there? Because when we were there under Poch, people wanted trophies. So that's the next thing. Regardless, I think people will always want trophies. But I think that is more a reflection on people just want to get back to watching good football first. Or could it be what Leah said, where she said it's just like people are just resigned that we ain't going to win trophies. And that, that's what that report is a reflection of.
I think sort of like going way back, like we sort of like had a little lift under Martin Yole, didn't we? And then it sort of died off when we replaced him with Ramos, even though we got a bit of a League Cup. And then picked up again with Redknapp, and we got into Europe and stuff. And then it dropped off again. And when Poch actually took over, I mean, it was pretty bad, wasn't it? I mean, we were pretty much in the same situation we're in now. Just to make it a sort of thing, you know, after AVB, we had all these misfit players. They were playing shit. We didn't know what we were going to do with them. You know, like half of them were just weren't worth the paper of the contract. You know, it was like it just shows so many parallels to at the moment, and he managed to sort it out. And the thing is, we gave him time because at least it was nice to watch.
That's the key thing is time now, and you know it's actually madness that you have to even ask Spurs fans for time and patience because like they've given it for so long now. But the reality is, and I'll just resign to it, that if we do want the next guy to work out, it's not going to happen in 1 season, 2 seasons. He needs beyond that, like you know. So for me, I do think it's ironic and just sort of that to ask Spurs fans for patience, but I do think it is something that needs to happen. But look,
I think it was the 3rd season under Poch, wasn't it? It was the 3rd season under Poch, and like I had a lot of mates that, you know, they don't support Tottenham, they're like Chelsea and stuff like that, and family and stuff, and they were actually saying, "Oh, Tottenham are really nice to watch at the moment."
Oh, we're everyone's second favourite team. Everybody's second favourite time. We're being praised with how the club was being run and how we were competing on the business model we operated under. We're being praised on what we look like on the pitch in terms of the football, you know, the togetherness, bringing some young players through, young English talent. There's a lot to like from an outside perspective. Sadly, now the only outside perspective is if you need money, you don't want to be in a job too long, come to Tottenham and get yourself sacked, and you know, you get paid out the rest of your contract. But Rufus, we've got a big game tomorrow. Depending on how it goes, it could be probably our last big game of the season. Many mixed feelings on it. Some not going to watch it. Some are. Some, like myself and Jack, have to be taped down into the chair to stick by and watch this. I know, seriously, though, I have nothing else to do. I do want to watch it, but. You know, do you hold out any hope? Is top 4 over? Because you got to look at it, right? In the
there's
league,
top 4 rest on tomorrow.
Yeah, in the league, Brighton, if they win, they're 1 point behind us with 2 games in hand. Regardless whether we win or not tomorrow, Newcastle United still have a game in hand. So, you know, for me, there's not really too much more room for any slip-ups.
No, there's no room for any slip-ups. I'd play Forster if we want to have any chance. I don't know what it is with Levy. Loris's head at the moment, but it's not really in the zone at the moment. And Forster didn't really deserve to get dropped for that game, I have to say.
It was harsh. It was really harsh on Fraser Forrester. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, look, we all knew sort of what Antonio Conte said, and we were expecting to happen. But then with him getting a stack and Stellini being put in charge with Mason, I thought maybe you might have seen them sort of continue with Fraser Forrester. I just find it mind-boggling that everyone's talking about leadership, questioning the leadership within the squad. The players have been questioning this, that, and the other. And we're bringing back Hugo Lloris to try and sort it out. I mean, it's absolutely madness. Anyway, I don't want to set Jack off because Jack's actually having a good Friday today. Jack, anything else you want to ask Rufus off the back of this?
Rufus, like, that's kind of the question really is like Brighton have basically been the team that every Spurs fan wished that we sort of played like. We all also wish that Spurs sort of operated more like Brighton. Do you see it being a bit contentious tomorrow if it doesn't go well for us? Because like I said, it's kind of like the team that everybody has used as an example of how they want Spurs to be more like. And let's say Brighton come to our stadium, beat us 2-0, something like that, even just, you know, make us lose in general. I think it could be a bit more toxic than usual. And I wouldn't blame them for it because, like I said, Brighton are a club that everybody wish maybe we were run a bit more like.
Oh, we go. It's a must-win game. We've got to win it if we've got any hopes of finishing top 4. I mean, it's getting tight now. I mean, that's like...
it's crunch time.
When a lot of people say, get behind Stellini and that, we have a look at the end of the season. The end of the season is surprisingly close.
Sorry,
absolutely surprisingly close. And I have a horrible feeling it's going to be just like the one before we got Nuno, and it could drag on. It could drag on because... I don't know if it was Paper Talk, KPV touched on it, but like in the week there was talk that Levy had supposedly distanced himself from Poch. And then 6 hours later, Potter was probably only paper talk, but 6 hours later, Potter was sacked. And it's just sort of like, you're just sat there thinking, oh my God, and Madrid's going to come up, and then there's some big jobs coming up. There's some really big jobs coming up, and we're not going to be at the top of these people's lists.
No.
With the way we are at the moment.
And I think when you look at it, sort of, the last couple of managers have come in, and I say it's sort of looking at doing Tottenham a favour. For me, I don't think you want to go into that realms or category again. You actually want someone who looks at us and says, "Yeah, I want to sink my teeth into that project." But even if anyone does, it's kind of like, well, will I be made the scapegoat like other previous managers were, with no one else really taking any sort of stepping up, taking any sort of accountability for what went on? So it's one big muddy mess. But look, I like mud bats; they're good for my skin, and hopefully we could come out the other end smelling the roses, my man. But Rufus, big yourself up, my man. Anything last you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, anything we didn't get to let you say?
No, I think I covered it all. I mean, it's sort of like I'm a very dejected Spurs fan at the moment because, like I said at the beginning, I never expected us to be at this point at the end of the last summer. If I'd have said, Conte will be gone before Easter.
I remember chatting with you over the summer about Jed Spence and all that. Yeah,
and all the signings would be shit or loaned out or God knows what. Everybody would have said I was mad.
You are mad. You are mad.
Yeah, you are a bit crazy. You are a bit crazy, Rufus.
You're a good man. But look, Rufus, really appreciate your time this afternoon, my man. Hopefully we get to speak next Friday under better circumstances with potentially 3 points under the belt, which might make us feel a tad little bit better. But hopefully Germany's keeping you safe, my man, and well. And we'll
I won't be watching the game tomorrow. I'm going out for a day in France and playing airsoft and
nice
running around in the woods shooting people. So,
and that's why we call you Crazy Rufus. But that's why we love you, man.
It was arranged. I didn't know the game was on the same day, so we'll probably win because we normally win when I don't watch the match.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'll have no internet or anything, so I can't even sort of like do a ticker and see what the scores are. So
nice.
If we win, we're going to have to, plan your weekends every weekend. So we'll have to give
get Jacob to kidnap you.
We'll find out how true it is next Friday.
It's good to speak to you, my man. I will see you again soon, brother.
Tell Jacob I said hello again as well.
Yeah.
I will do.
Right. See you, my friend.
Everybody, give Rufus a bit of love in the chat. What a guy. I like that guy. I really like him. But look, let's keep this moving. We're down to the last guest of the evening, and it is the one and only Ash Matic. Let's bring him on and let's hear what he has to say. Big up, my man. How you keeping?
What's going on, guys? You man good?
I don't even know where to start talking to people about Spurs nowadays.
We talk about something else. That's cool. I'm cool with that. We don't have to talk about Spurs. We can talk about something else. It's a Friday. It's Easter, Have you got your hot cross buns? Have you got your fish ready? I don't know.
Have you got your Scott Munn buns? Your Scott Cross Munns. That's what somebody said. And what do you make of that? Did you expect that at all to happen, Ash? This is kind of what Dave and I even spoke about in the beginning, was like Spurs seem to do this, right? Where they make appointments and, big news seems to just come out when you least expect it, Like the timing is always incredible by them. Like they really do look for the moments when everybody would have their head turned, right? Everybody thinks, they'll be, looks like nothing's going to be happening today. Ali Gold even talks about it all the time, that anytime he goes for a bit of a, a night out with the missus or with the kids to a movie, some big thing always happens. What do you make of that all of a sudden on a Friday right before the Brighton game this news comes out?
My broski, listen, every time without fail, it's like Tottenham ENT. Trust me, because we're just in an entertainment at the moment. Every day
at every level
new. Like you can't close your eyes and just rest and think, I'm gonna take a break from Spurs for once in a while. Every time they always get us. And this Munn, who is this Munn? Munn. I'm like, all right, cool. We got a new, what do you call it? What's the title they gave him?
Chief Football Officer.
Chief Football Officer. You can't make this up.
CFO.
Oh, you can't make this up. It's so ambiguous because it's still up in the air technically with Paratici. So Paratici could still be in a job, but is he the type of man to be wanting to work with another guy? Do you understand?
Supposedly he would be Paratici's boss, so he technically would have the reins to be able to get rid of Paratici.
That's what I'm saying. Like, would Paratici, would he be happy with just being underneath someone else, or would he? Because he strikes me as a person that is passionate. He's like the main man. He's the don. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And now he's got to answer to someone else. I'm not sure if that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. He could work with him. He might not. I don't know. But I just find it so hilarious. Like something else again. And then look into the man's credentials, because supposing Paratici does go, and then this guy is the guy that's going to be handling our transfers, that would be very, very interesting, because that's a possibility, right? Or am I going off the wind now? Or
you were implying that Scott Munn is maybe going to be taking charge of some of the transfers, managerial hirings, that sort of thing?
Possible? Is that what we're saying here?
He technically is the head of everything from the women's team operations to the scouting department. Like, he is everybody's boss on the footballing side. The only guy he actually probably answers to is really Daniel Levy and the board, really. So when you think about it, technically he would be involved, right, in the hiring of whatever manager or something. But if he is in charge of, like you said, ambiguously, all of these various departments, and he is sort of the top dog, it says more that maybe there would be more of a kind of like a committee type thing, because it's like, why would it just be him making the signing one? Greta Steinson have been given, like a promotion. It looks like Rob Scolding has been given a promotion. Paratici, we know his future isn't certain yet. So it seems like maybe this guy is, of course, all their boss, but is he really the one doing all the research? Is he really the one doing all the digging into things? Maybe not. I think this more has to do with Ash is, I think it could either be a PR stunt or it's actually legitimate. I think it's Levy trying to make it either look like he's stepping away from footballing operations and footballing decisions, or he actually is trying to step away from footballing decisions and footballing operations.
I can't see Levy stepping away from
nothing. But could you see this as a PR stunt then? Could you see this as a PR stunt?
Look, Levy's got too much, like his hands, like he just can't help it. Like last season, he said the same thing. He said, I'm not getting involved in transfers. I'm going to take a back step and handle the operations on the outside and focus on the business side of things. What happens?
Jet Spence.
You just can't make it up. Brother, don't be fooled. Hey, you, man. Hey, listen, everyone in the comments, don't be tricked. Don't get gassed. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. But a left doesn't change his spots. Like,
so we shouldn't call Scotty Too Hotty Munn or anything like that. No nicknames, with Scotty Too Hotty.
Hey, that's it, so. I like that one.
No nicknames for the guy, though. Honestly, we want to give him a fair chance here. But
get the Munns out. Get the Munns out. The lads.
I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna pass out. My chest isn't the best this week. No, I'm just confused by the whole situation, though. Matic. Like when I look at it, you got Paratici brought in Greta Steinson as his number two. Like Jack said, Rob Scolding, you got your man Scolding there. Now you've got this guy, then you've got Levy, then you've got Todd Klein on the business side of things, and it's like so many people are having their say. Like, do you not see that coming to a head eventually? Do you not think it's potentially making it worse than what it already is?
Yeah. I was trying to look at his CV, and I'm like, no European football experience. Is that allowed? Huh? A top club, top 6 club. Yeah, and not even South American. Like if it's South American, you give it a blah. You're like, yeah, all right, then cool. He might be able to scout over there.
Because that was the case with Edu, right? Didn't Edu have he came from South America, had a bunch of connections from Brazil or something?
Even Edu was an ex-footballer, so at least he's got that skin in the game. This guy here. It's a complete different sport. Man's talking about Olympics and rugby, huh? What? I know we did Sydney, but are we counting Sydney? Come on, man. Come on. Are we counting Sydney? No disrespect to all my Aussies up in there, but like it's to me, I look at the CV and I'm nervous. That's all.
This is what I mean, Ash. This is his role seems to be like the role of somebody who is more like the head of a lot of various departments at once, where a lot of people answer to him, a lot of people go to him. Like he doesn't need to be the guy, it looks like, that is actually making the transfers or doing all the research. He is maybe actually, by the looks of things, like you said, it really could be just entirely PR looking. But I think that is obviously the tactic here, is to make it PR looking, and the fact that he is being brought in to take charge of all of these different departments that it said in the article: women's team, scouting department, on the field management, squad management, transfers, Parachichi, he's head of that guy. So he's being brought in. He's being brought in for what is quote unquote crisis management. Maybe he's the guy that is sort of, they see as somebody to handle a crisis at a you know, like consultants are brought into companies to handle things with like an outside perspective to sort of fix things right away. And maybe that's what he is. If I were to be positive about it, that's what he is a guy that has experience with fixing shit situations, and he's going to be brought in for that sort of, you know, task. He's not going to be, you know, going to PSV versus Ajax games, you know, scouting people for Arne Slot. He's going to be making day-to-day decisions on kind of how to get us out of this crisis management.
You're saying he's more over the structure of things, Jack, rather than actually
picture him as like the head crane. Like he's like the crane looking over all of his guys doing the groundwork. It basically is. And he doesn't need to be an expert on all of it. In fact, he probably just needs to be more an expert on how to hire within the right people to get us on the right track, because we all know it isn't actually up to one guy to make all the decisions. That's impossible. You can't make the right decisions for the women's team, the men's team, scouting department, etc. He needs to hire more people. And that was even part of the job, actually. I think it said he is going to beef up the footballing side of things, where he's going to hire even more people for all these various departments. So that was also part of his role. I think he is being brought in to sort of oversee everything from a very bird's eye view perspective, and bring in whatever people he sees fit to fix whatever department that he knows is, you know, lacking. And that's a lot of departments. But
do you think we're going to get a new director of football? If
potentially, that would be maybe one of his roles, is that if Parachichi is fired, I would imagine he would hire some director of football, or he would promote some talent scout to that sort of role. Maybe it wouldn't even be director of football. Maybe it would be like the role that I guess Steve Hitchen was technically the top guy before, but I guess Steve Hitchen's role, if Steve Hitchen did theoretically have somebody above him that wasn't Levy, I think maybe that would have been like, maybe someone will get that sort of role. Like, what is it? Technical performance director, some bullshit, something like that.
Yeah. To me, I just hear titles. I hear gold medals. I hear rugby union. I hear anything but elite football. That's the only thing that's missing. I'm not hearing any experience in the level that we need to have recruit. And we look up at down the seaside, and we look at Brighton, where the birds are coming along, those big seagulls are flying along, and it feels like they're just shitting on us Tottenham fans. The damn seagulls, keep my food back! Because everyone's envious for Brighton right now. We used to be that team that, you know, fans used to love. We used to be that team that fans used to think, oh, they got great football. Yeah, we like the look of them. We used to be that team where we bring out unearth gems and players that you never heard of. We used to be that team that had great scouts. Like, do you know what I'm saying? We used to have that team that we had a great manager, that people used to love that manager and praise them. And this is a new philosophy of football. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I'm thinking right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
We're all feeling like that, Ash. We're all feeling like, I think, let's be honest, I think everyone just wants the season to end. You know, we're all just sort of waiting for the season to end, just to have renewed optimism again, at least in my hope anyway, you know. I just want the season to be over, just so that I can have some sort of renewed optimism going into a fresh season, rather than just continue to drag out this shit that we've had to watch all season long. But Ash, what do you think of the poll on the Athletic that was put out there yesterday, where they said 50.6% of fans would rather style of play over trophies? They feel it's more important.
That's fans just being sick of the last 3 or 4 years, because I think everyone gave the chance and credence to win now football because they thought we were going to win now. And we didn't win now. And basically, off the back of performances, it's always a hard trade-off when you're not playing well and you're losing and you're not winning trophies. Do you understand? Something has to give. You need to have at least one. If you're not going to win now, you need to at least play good. Or if you're not going to play good, you've got to at least win now. You can't do both. You can't play bad and not win trophies. It just doesn't make sense. Like, you got to pick a struggle. And that's the reason why the fan base is coming out with 50.6% want star, because they're desperate. If they want anything, like, they say, listen, just at least give me some football to go and support and watch. Because remember, they're paying the hard-earned cash, $2,000 plus to see at the Bernabeu Real Madrid. Tottenham Hotspur. Sorry, Spurs playing on the pitch. So if you're not seeing, but you see what I'm trying to say, Real Madrid, you can understand, like, paying that much money and you're seeing exciting football and you're seeing trophies, but
you're seeing the best players in the world.
Dollar in the world of football. You're paying the most amount of any Premier League club. You're paying the most out of any La Liga, Serie A, Eredivisie, the league, like any division. We're paying the highest amount. And what do we get in return? It's almost like a slap in your face. So with Mourinho coming in, everyone was excited. Not everyone, but most fans were excited because we were like, we didn't quite do it with Poch, but now what? You know what? We're going to sacrifice entertainment so we can get it over the line and we can give those players what they all deserve. Some of those, not all the players, but some of the players what they deserve, and give them a trophy, because, you know, when people look back at your career, you want to know that you've had the trophy. And also for the fans as well, because it was a monkey on the back for the fans, because we were playing all this great football, this good football. But then, like, out of the top six, or so-called top six, where we've won nothing, like in that period. I mean, not nothing, but in that period, like that small period, at the Premier League area anyway, we haven't performed like the other top six clubs. The other top six, you've got your Chelsea's, that they've got trophies, whether they win one season or they don't win the other season. At least they've got like a list of trophies to look back at. Then you've got United, of course. You've got Liverpool. They've won trophies. They've been, you know, 7th, 6th, but then they've gone top. You know what I mean? And then they've won trophies. And I think what kills fans is we were next to Liverpool. In fact, we were ahead of Liverpool.
Yeah, we were
ahead of Liverpool for a long time. This is what kills us. Then we watched Liverpool slowly buy your Mane, right? You slowly saw Mane coming.
Who we could have had, by the way, but we said we're getting G and Kudu.
It hurts. It still hurts. Then we slowly saw them add like a Salah and a Wijnaldum. Do you know what I'm saying? I remember Wijnaldum one hurts. So Wijnaldum hurts because we were meant to get him. Anyway, then you slowly saw a Salah added. Then you saw, cool. They got to a certain final, didn't quite get over the line, and then they just kept buying, not like 5 players, just one quality player for each position that they needed. And then you just saw the difference. It was massive. Where we did the opposite, we were buying 5 Z-listers, you know what I'm saying? Fake celebrities. We're just buying B-techs. We were buying, like, what do you call it? What's the high-tech trainers? That's what we were buying. No plastic air bubble. We weren't buying the real deal. So that's the reason why we kept messing up. Like, it's complete madness. I don't understand the due diligence. I don't understand. There's no common brain. No common sense. So, like, just like, make it make sense, innit? Like, you just know where to strengthen, and you knew like who was getting on. You knew who was getting on. You know Toby was coming to the end of the career. The Tongan had to move on, so you know you need to replace those 2 players. Do you know what I'm saying? And if we didn't get it right, because remember, all right, we bought the money with Sanchez, we tried to do that. I get it. But the first 2 years, right, it's not working. All right, let's go again. Don't be afraid to go again in that particular area if that first purchase you made didn't quite work out. Anywho, point I was making is the reason why the fans were going for style now. This is because Mourinho, obviously, that never worked out for whatever reason, and we know the reasons why. I'm not going to get into it. Then we had a Nuno. I don't know what that was about. That was a panic, I think, in my opinion, because 72 days, we're like, we got to do something quick. Nuno. Oops. Oh, now we got to deal with it. Then they came from, man. They were like, right, you know what? I need to get Conte in now. Got Conte in. And to be fair, for me, I thought he outperformed. I didn't expect top four. I'm gonna lie. I was ready to be patient for Conte. I was expecting maybe fifth, sixth at best. So the fact we got fourth, I thought we kind of jumped the gun a little bit, just a little bit, because there was a point where we were top four, then we came out of it. Arsenal came, and then we were top four again. It was like that. I mean, but anyway, we got the top four. Everyone was madly gassed, and then we thought, all right, we're going to push for it. And I think it's the way it capitulated this season and the expectation off the back of the success of last season, and the window that, because theoretically we spent big, that theoretically it felt like, all right, we're going to push on, even though it wasn't the areas that we needed. The fact that we were still pushing on from the season where we had fourth, we thought at minimum, we'll finish up fourth. But we're going to push on. And now that expectation has completely, the wheels completely come off. I think this is where fans have been like, you know what? Just give me back good football, because at least for good football, I may not be winning anything, but at least I can live with that. Do you know what I mean? And then maybe if we can come after that. But you can't. I think the other way around, we tried it and it didn't quite work out. So then maybe fans are thinking, let's try the style first, and then maybe hopefully trophies will follow after that. I don't know.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That was my assumption of it, that people are just fed up with the football. That they're sort of like, look, just give me the good football first. Once we get a few years of that, ask me the same question. I'll tell you why I want trophies. That's what I sort of make of it. But Ash, big game tomorrow. Don't give away too much, because some of these people will be watching you on the pre-match build-up as well. But look, we lose this tomorrow, are we doomed? Is the season over?
If we lose, yes. The reason why I think if we lose, I think the reason why it's just momentum. Momentum will kick. You saw how it was last season. I looked at the Newcastle game, and what they did when they won 5-1 against West Ham, it just reminded me of Spurs so much. Like, we had the massive win against Arsenal. Obviously, they won against United. We won 3-0. They beat United on the other day. And it was just a massive lift. Like, the whole club was just up. The energy was up. The fan base was up. The players were up. The coach was up. Everyone believed. That was the most important thing. The mental belief behind the whole fan base. The mood was up. So you just knew that momentum was going to carry on into the next game. And that happened with Newcastle against West Ham. They just demolished them from minute one. Even though West Ham came up and they hit the post and they're on top of them, you just knew Newcastle were going to come back with something stronger. And when I saw the 5-1, I just said, yep, Newcastle, they're on it. I can't even lie. This reminds me of Spurs. So I just feel like with Tottenham, where we are off the field, it's a mess. There's not a lot of good things going on at the moment. The energy is really low. Fan base is really divided. Everyone's pointing fingers. We don't know where it is. Even the players themselves, I'm not totally sure if they're 100% behind each other, especially when the goals get tough. We're off the back of two not so good results. I mean, I know they're draw, so it wasn't a disaster, but it was the way and the style in which we lost those goals and the way we capitulated as well as a team. And then also, people saying, Mason was going mad at Stellini, shouting at the players, shouting at everyone, saying, what are you doing? Which I was really impressed with. I think that was the one ray of sunlight that, like, he gives a shit. Do you know what I mean? Out of everyone, he really cares. Like, do you know what I mean? His kid's coming in a few weeks, but you could just see he's Tottenham through and through. You could just tell. And he seems like a nice guy, but when it comes to football, people underestimate him, I feel like.
Yeah, I think he could be good. Sorry. No. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say I watched Coach's Voices the other week, and he was on it, and it was not Coach's Voices. It was High Performance. Sorry, High Performance as well.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And basically, people writ him off when he got the caretaker job for Tottenham not last season, but when Mourinho, obviously he was fired. And basically, he said he was ready because he had coached the under 15s, the under 17s, and the under 19s. So he had already had that experience, really had 2-3 years experience of coaching them. And then obviously he's an ex-player, and then it was just down to whether the boys could believe him in or not. And then when he came down, they asked him, can you do the job? He said, yeah, I'm ready. Well, he was never scared. He was ready to do the job and knew what it took. And he was like relishing the job right then, there and then. So this time around, I wasn't thinking, you know, is Mason ready? Does he have enough experience? I already know that he's already gone through, you know, from that other time when he got, you know, he won 4 wins out of the 6. This time's come along. He's not got his chance. But the fact that he's already shouting his mouth off, because people perceive him as the nice guy. And then also, I get that with Tottenham. Tottenham was perceived as the nice team, you know, the team that does, you know, everyone's. And I feel like he's just got that point to prove, like, and he even said it on High Performance. Sometimes you can't shy away from things. Sometimes you've got to be a bit of a bastard. He said that. And I remember that stood out to me. I was like, that's leadership talk. Because he goes, like, sometimes if you're just everyone's mate and everything, then sometimes you just need to get underneath their skin and have it out and let people know what you're thinking. So I was like, you know what? I respect that. And he's been under Mourinho. He's luckily enough to be under Conte. I remember when he said Conte visited him at his in the bed when he had his head split open, Conte on the side. So I think he's taken a lot on from those managers that have been around him. And he's like, you know, Stellini's more the nice guy. He's been like more the good cop. I think Mason's now trying to be the bad cop, and he's like, look, I'm not gonna have it.
It's embarrassing though, Ash. It's embarrassing that we're playing good cop, bad cop. It is, honestly. That's a comedy sketch. That's a comedy sketch in the movies.
The reality is, bad cop. We need leadership right now from someone. Someone needs to step up. I don't know. I'm just saying what I'm seeing.
No, I hear you. I hear you. No, I'm not having a pop. I just find it embarrassing.
You're right. No, it is a joke. You're right. But the fact is, we need more leaders on the pitch. Yeah. And when you can't see the leaders on the pitch, and they've given the players a certain amount of instructions, and when you can just see that the heart and the desire and the energy is just not there, and it's happened more than once. It's happened against Sheffield United. He's seen it. He's seen it happen at Wolverhampton. He's seen it. He saw it happen at Southampton. He's seen it. He saw it again Monday night against Everton Football Club. It's always around that 60, 70th minute mark. We're dropping off. The energy is dropping. The play. It's not even. It's no longer about the tactics anymore. It's about the heart and desire. And Conte spoke about it. He wants to see the fire in the eyes. I want to see the desire. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're missing. So
I agree.
Like it doesn't matter how much tactics you throw at them or throw at the wall, it's not going to stick because these players, they're not doing it. And Sherwood came out. I remember when Sherwood came out and he called them out. Do you know what I'm saying? But these players, they're not performing like they keep like as soon as it gets on top, they sink, or they point fingers. Do you know what I mean? Don't point fingers. Do a punch and tackle and then point a finger. And just get in your position. Don't be standing around and pointing fingers where things are capitulating before your very eyes and passing the buck. You're passing the buck. Don't pass the buck. Man up. Be the man. You know what I'm saying? And then slap someone around the head. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's just what should be happening. You know, I agree with you. Even if you are going to point fingers, at least clatter someone to show you're doing something.
Exactly.
You know, to try, at least if you clatter someone and then start pointing at someone, you're like, come on, guys, get up. You know what I mean? I fully agree with you. And look, this whole thing stinks of leadership. I actually put out a thing the other day on Twitter, where it was like, look, we can sit here and talk about pragmatic tactics, this, that, and the other. Reality is we can't even keep the fucking football. If you can't do the basics, you have no hope of implementing the tactics. But why would we keep the football? I've been saying for a long time to play in every other sport but football. And guess what dropped yesterday? Eric Dyer with a golf club.
Straight away. When I saw that.
He's got a better touch with a golf ball than he does a football.
Yeah, he's got more skills with a golf club and ball than what he does with a football. And it just goes to show to me where he's putting a lot of his time and effort in. Because we know he was upset with Doherty going because he's his golf buddy. So, I'm a bit concerned with what sport they think they're supposed to be playing at Tottenham. But Ash, why don't you tell people what's coming up on this channel, man? Southview.
Yeah. Well, we're meant to be doing a few bits, to be fair. So just keep your eyes peeled, guys. But literally after post games, you will normally find either Hass, Marlon, or you might catch me there afterwards. But to be fair, I'm all over, man. I'm all over it, man.
You
So yeah, just catch me around. I'll just have my 2 pence, and I think it's important, that especially like shows like these, which give fans a platform and a voice. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because without you guys, we just wouldn't have that voice. And I think the voice is important. Some people are scared to talk up, and it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, as long as you're heard. You know what I'm trying to say? So just literally say your piece. Not everyone's going to agree with it, like, do you know what I mean? But just say what's on your heart. Everyone loves the club equally. Do you know what I mean? And everybody wants what's best for Tottenham Hotspurs. And if it's a thing where, you know, it's healing for some of us, you know, that's why we come on there, just to heal ourselves, and not take it out on other people. Then I think this is basically our outlet. But yeah, literally, like, yeah, you'll see me all over, guys. And yeah, we got some things planned up before the season's over.
Good. Do you know what?
Nice.
Very well said, my man. I'm actually not even going to ruin it while I add an ending onto it. Everyone listened to what Ash Matic just said. Absolutely brilliantly said. Ash, thank you for your time this afternoon, my man. I really appreciate it. Somehow you make me feel and sort of leaving with a bit of a grin on my face. I don't know how you pick yourself up, my man.
Good call, Ash.
Big up you boys, man. Keep doing the good work, man. Trust me, man.
Thank you.
Doesn't go unnoticed, man. I'm telling you.
Make sure you keep coming and speaking to us and giving me and many others the therapy that you keep delivering, my man. Big yourself up.
We'll see you tomorrow, Ash.
Even the silent people that don't talk, because I'm one of those, I'm not always in the comments. Big you guys up that are just watching as well, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that shout out.
There's loads of them.
Good
loads of them. Big up, Ash. And we'll see you again soon, brother.
Love.
Yeah, my friend.
Everyone, big up Ash in the chat. Very, very well said there at the end.
It was a good call.
You know, it was a really good call, actually. There's not a lot I disagree with, to be honest, at all.
Even when Dave has been trying to, pick arguments today, he's finding it hard.
I've been trying to cleanse my soul by picking an argument, But
everybody's just speaking too much sense. Everybody's speaking too much sense today. Yeah. Everyone's
speaking too much sense. So back to my my Eric Dyer deep dive. I'll find something that he'll do that I can have an argument with. But anyway, Jack, over to you.
Just quickly though, Dave, I did miss something. And Truth Sets Free, I apologize, my friend. He gave a membership earlier, Dave, to the likes of Big Mike. So Big Mike looked like he got that fan show membership via Truth Sets Free. Pretty sure there could be a fan show out tomorrow. So there's your next one. After the Brighton game, if you want to come on and have your say, Mr. Big Mike, please come and join us. Come and keep us company post Brighton. But big yourself up, Truth Sets Free. And I do apologize for getting that so late as well. My apologies.
Big up the truth. Truth always delivers the truth. Big up, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. And Big Mike, make sure you use that membership to get on the fan show with Jacob tomorrow and have your say. But look, that's it from my ugly mug this evening, because I have to go together. Myself and Jacko, we have to go and put the pre-match build-up together that you guys so much love for tomorrow. So we're off to do that. It's good weather over here, so if you are in Ireland, get out and enjoy the weather. If it's good weather where you live, just get out and enjoy it. Don't sit at home suffering, worrying, thinking about Tottenham. Just get out there. Jacko, anything you want to say to them before we end off, brother?
No, come and join us, everybody, for all the match day festivities. And I know it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a nervous one. Like we said, plenty of us have already given up on top four, or we might think it might be well and done tomorrow if things don't go well. But come and join us for it. Keep yourself some company. Come watch it with some friends. Watch it with some fellow Spurs fans. So join us for that pre-match build-up, for the watch-along, all that good stuff as well, please.
Yeah, love it. And those of you who haven't and you want more content to check out the podcast we've done with Flav from the Fighting Cock. A great podcast, by the way. Do get over there and check it out if you haven't. But guys, that's it from myself and Jacko. We'll see you back here tomorrow with our jerseys on, ready to be heard all over again. As always, no matter what, Tottenham through and through. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
And I'm going to take Mia's approach on this. In the fans we trust.
Big up, Mia. We'll give it to you. In the fans we trust.
Everywhere we go.